Chapter 990. Worship. Be careful. Qin Qin couldn't help but remind Wang Xian loudly when she saw the thunderfish attacking him. Although this freshman had crippled her younger brother's limbs, he had saved her life just now. She couldn't help but remind him loudly. Wang Xian couldn't help but twitch his lips when he saw a 1-meter-thick thunderbolt heading straight for him. He raised the thunderbolt wood in his hand and met the bolt of lightning. It's over. Seeing Wang Xian holding a wooden stick to meet the bolt of lightning released by an extraordinary level 6 thunderfish, some of the girls in the Amethyst mercenary group even closed their eyes. "Fuck, my injuries are really serious." When the bolt of lightning entered the thunderbolt wood, Wang Xian couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His injuries were too severe. He had to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood to receive an attack from an extraordinary level 6 ferocious beast. Moreover, this was under the circumstances where he had the thunderbolt wood as a natural treasure. If he didn't have it, this attack would take half of his life. He caught it. The female students of the Amethyst mercenary group widened their eyes when they saw that Wang Xian had actually caught this thunderbolt. This was an attack released by a transcendent level 6. He could actually receive it so easily. Even their deputy leader didn't dare to receive the attack from a transcendent level 6 thunderfish head-on. However, what shocked them even more was that the new student was actually walking slowly towards the group of thunderfish. Was he crazy? Roar! The group of thunderfish was enraged when they saw Wang Xian catching the lightning bolt and walking towards them. 2 extraordinary level 5 thunderfish moved and attacked him. "You're courting death." Wang Xian looked at the group of thunderfish, and the lightning wood in his hand fell heavily onto the ground. At this moment, numerous blue-green vines drilled out from the ground. The vines covered all the thunderfish within. The vines were like poisonous snakes as they pierced through the thunderfish one by one. Poo, poo, poo. Guggo. The 2 thunderfish that were attacking him were pierced through by the vines and were killed instantly. The sound of the thunderfish being pierced and their screams could be heard from the back. Hiss! Wang Xian mobilized the energy in his body, and blood flowed out from his mouth again. Bang, bang, bang. Everyone in the Amethyst mercenary group was stunned. This included Vice Leader Xiao and the 2 team leaders who were at Transcendent Level 6. What did they see? One move. He easily placed a wooden stick on the ground with his arm, and a large number of thunderfish were killed or injured. How could his strength be so terrifying? Coo! At this moment, a series of angry voices were heard. Everyone looked over hurriedly with an embarrassed expression on their faces. 3 level 6 extraordinary thunderfish were not hit in their vitals. When the 3 thunderfish saw that their comrades were killed and that there was a long wound on their body, their eyes turned red. Coo! The 3 level 6 extraordinary thunderfish roared loudly. Their voices reverberated within a radius of a few thousand meters. Their bodies were emitting blue lightning rays. This is really troublesome. Wang Xian's face turned a little black. He pointed at the thunderstruck wood with his hand. Whoosh! 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 Before the lightning was released, 3 wooden spears that were 10 meters long attacked them. On the wooden spears, the glow of lightning was flickering. Wang Xian did not have the lightning attribute. Everything was due to the powerful effect of the thunderstruck wood. The wooden spear was extremely terrifying. The members of the Amethyst mercenary group saw a shadow closely. Roar! 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 In less than a second, they heard the screams of the last 3 thunderfish. Everyone widened their eyes. Wang Xian staggered and almost fell to the ground. He quickly used the lightning wood to support himself. Some of the wounds on his body were bleeding. When the members of the Amethyst mercenary group saw that Wang Xian almost fell to the ground. They were alarmed. He is so strong. With such serious injuries on his body, he was actually able to kill a level 6 extraordinary thunderfish in one hit. A female student mumbled as her eyes were filled with disbelief. The rest of the female students were also in a daze. The person in front of them was a freshman from the Demon Hunters Academy. Furthermore, he was an extremely arrogant freshman in their eyes. Furthermore, when he first came to the Thunder Island, a few girls were prepared to teach him a lesson. Now that they saw this scene, teach him a lesson. They finally knew that he had told them that this was their wise choice back then. If they had really wanted to teach him a lesson back then, they would have been killed instantly. He was the one who saved us. His strength is at least at Transcendent Level 7. He isn't arrogant at all. With his strength, if he were to be arrogant, a girl mumbled. She looked at Wang Xian, who was heavily injured. Instead, a hint of admiration appeared in her eyes. Thank you for saving us. Deputy Captain Xiao endured the pain in her body and stood up slowly. She thanked Wang Xian. Her expression was complicated. She was a little dazed when she saw a freshman who had killed more than a dozen ferocious beasts that almost killed them in an instant despite his serious injuries. Wang Xian waved his hand and sat cross-legged on the ground. He placed the lightning strike wood on his leg and began to heal his injuries quickly. Thank you for saving us. The rest of the girls also spoke to Wang Xian respectfully with complicated expressions. Some of the girls sized up Wang Xian, and a hint of admiration gradually appeared in their eyes. He's so strong. It's unbelievable that a new student could be so strong. It's all thanks to him today. Yeah, he saved us even when he was heavily injured. I'm touched. He's such a good man. Sigh, I even mocked him not long ago. I'm really blind. I regret it so much. I'll apologize to him later. Yeah, we even said that he was arrogant. With his strength, there's no need for him to be arrogant at all. He can be considered very low-key. Look at him. Did you notice that he's very handsome? I don't know how he got injured so badly. The group of girls looked at Wang Xian without concealing their eyes. Their faces were filled with regret, admiration, and admiration. Qin Qing also looked at Wang Xian in a daze. She didn't expect that the person who crippled her younger brother's limbs was actually a terrifying powerhouse who was at least at Transcendent Level 7. Recalling her younger brother's provocation back then, she smiled bitterly. It was already good enough that she didn't kill her younger brother after offending such a situation. When he recovers, we have to thank him properly. Deputy Captain Tang whispered to the group of girls beside him. Everyone in the Amethyst mercenary group nodded and began to treat their wounds. Their eyes would occasionally look at Wang Xian, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground. Deputy Leader Xiao, do you still need help if you encounter any danger? At this moment, a voice was heard. Following that, they saw the group from the Young Masters mercenary group arriving. Chapter 991, He Must Die. A group of 20 people with 3 special lines on their faces walked in the center. Their voices rang out in the surroundings. One by one, they flew down from the sky and scanned their surroundings. Deputy Commander Xiao, your luck is a little bad this time. You actually encountered so many powerful thunderfish. Yun Hanhai looked at Deputy Leader Xiao, who was treating his wounds, and asked in surprise. Yes. When Deputy Leader Xiao saw them arriving, he swept his gaze across Wang Xian. Suddenly, he frowned and nodded his head slowly. We encountered some danger just now. We don't need your help now. You guys can go back to your work. Thank you. Deputy Leader Zhao's eyes flickered as he asked. The group of girls from the Amethyst mercenary group looked at each other when they saw them. They glanced at Wang Xian, who was at the side, and thought to themselves, this is not good. Yes, we have settled everything. Thank you, Deputy Leader Yin, for coming to help us. There's no need for that now. Let us recuperate for a while. You guys can go on with your work. Yes, yes. Thank you, young master, for coming to help us. A few girls hurriedly said to Yunhan Hai and the others. Vice Regiment Commander Shao, what kind of danger have you encountered? At this moment, another voice came from afar. Following that, more than 10 people rushed over from not far away. Vice Regiment Commander Shao frowned slightly. It's fine. Sorry for disturbing everyone. You guys go back to your work. It's fine, it's fine. The 10 or so youths who came shook their heads and looked at the young master's mercenary group at the side. They hurriedly said, Deputy Regiment Commander Yin, you're here too. N. Yun Han Hai nodded. I saw the Amethyst mercenary group calling for help, so I came. Oh, right. Did you guys see that newborn kid? Yun Han Hai asked the group of mercenary group members. No. If we meet him, we will definitely tell Deputy Leader Yin. The leader of the group of mercenaries said hurriedly. Yun Han Hai nodded his head indifferently and said coldly, he's just a kid. He's hiding very well. The group of girls from the Amethyst mercenary group frowned when they heard Yun Han Hai's words. Their eyes would glance at Wang Xian from time to time. At this moment, Wang Xian's entire body was in tatters. There were wounds all over his body. Therefore, he was not discovered for the time being. However, if one were to take a closer look, they would definitely realize that he was the person they were looking for. Currently, although Wang Xian's strength was abnormally strong, he was severely injured. When he attacked just now, he almost fell down. He had already reached his limit. If he was discovered by the people in the young master's mercenary group at this moment, it would be troublesome. All right. Yun Han Hai nodded his head and looked at Deputy Chief Shao. If the Amethyst mercenary group encounters that kid, please inform Deputy Chief Shao. Sure. Deputy Chief Shao nodded his head perfunctorily. That. Suddenly, one of the members of the mercenary group at the side looked at Wang Xian with a surprised expression. Isn't that the new Wang Xian? He pointed his finger over and asked with an astonished expression. Huh. The members of the young master's mercenary group and the people beside him were slightly stunned as they looked over with an astonished expression. Yun Han Hai squinted his eyes slightly as he looked at Wang Xian, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground. He didn't notice when he saw a few members of the Amethyst mercenary group who were severely injured and recovering while sitting cross-legged on the ground. Now it seemed like, Wang Xian. Deputy Leader Shao, you guys are a little unscrupulous. You are clearly here, yet you didn't tell us. Yun Han Hai glanced at her and slowly waved at the person beside him. That's right, Deputy Leader Shao. This kid has repeatedly embarrassed our young master's mercenary group. Moreover, we have already announced that we are going to deal with this kid. If we let him escape this time, our young master's mercenary group will be greatly embarrassed. A young man beside Yun Han Hai walked out and said to Deputy Leader Shao with a smile on his face, Wow. As he said that, he pulled out the long sword in his hand and stared at Wang Xian coldly. A teasing look appeared on his face as he said, Hey kid, wake up! Wang Xian sensed the people from the young master's mercenary group. He frowned slightly and ignored them. Just as the Amethyst mercenary group had guessed, the 3 attacks earlier had drained all his strength. Now he had to recover. In just a few minutes, he would be able to fight for about 10 seconds. Hee, looks like your injuries are not light. TSK, I think there's no need for you to suffer so much. Let us send you to hell. When the young man saw that Wang Xian did not respond, he held his long sword and spoke mockingly as he walked over. Stop! Qin Qing and the other 7 or 8 girls who were not injured stood up immediately and shouted at the young man. They moved and immediately came in front of them to block him. Huh. The young man was slightly stunned. He turned around and looked at Yun Han Hai. Deputy Commander Shao, what's going on? You didn't tell us that kid was with you just now, so why are you stopping us now? Yun Hanhai's eyes flickered. Doesn't this kid have a grudge with you? Deputy Commander Yin, this friend just saved our lives, so we naturally have to protect him. Deputy Commander Zhao's face was slightly pale as he stood up and said to Yun Hanhai, Deputy Captain Xiao, what do you mean by this? Yun Hanhai's face turned cold slowly. You want to protect this kid. He saved our lives. Naturally, we have to protect our benefactor. Deputy Captain Xiao stared at Yun Hanhai expressionlessly. Deputy Captain Xiao, you have to know that this kid is someone that our young master must kill. He must die. No one can stop him. Yun Hanhai stared at her coldly and walked slowly towards Wang Xian. The people beside him immediately followed behind. He provoked our young master's mercenary group. No matter who he is, he must die. A middle-aged powerhouse beside Yun Hanhai swept a cold glance at the members of the Amethyst mercenary group and said coldly, Young Master's mercenary group. Don't tell me you want to go against our Amethyst mercenary group? Vice Commander Xiao also walked over with an embarrassed expression and confronted them. You want to go against our young master's mercenary group because of a kid. Yun Hanhai's expression immediately darkened as he coldly said. Vice Commander Xiao and the others didn't say anything. However, they stood in front of him and said everything. He must die, Xiao Yuanyuan. All of you are already injured. You can't stop us. Yun Hanhai said with a cold face. We will protect him today. Don't even think about hurting him. Deputy Commander Xiao pulled out the long saber in his hand and said with a determined face. The girls of the Amethyst mercenary group also took out their weapons and stared at Yun Hanhai and the others angrily. Chapter 992. Get out of the way. I'll kill them first. Wang Xian was their savior. If Wang Xian didn't save them earlier, they would be dead by now. As for their savior, they couldn't possibly watch the members of the young master's mercenary group kill him. The group of girls from the Amethyst mercenary group stared at Yun Hanhai and the rest with hostility. They didn't show any signs of weakness. Yun Hanhai's face instantly darkened when he saw them pull out their weapons. You guys don't have a grudge against this kid, right? Now, for his sake, you guys are actually going against us. He clenched his fists tightly and said in a cold voice, Give our Amethyst mercenary group some face. Deputy Commander Xiao said with a gloomy face. They also didn't want to become enemies with Young Master's mercenary group. All the members of Young Master's mercenary group had extraordinary backgrounds. It was definitely not a wise choice to make an enemy out of them. Even though they were the third-ranked mercenary group in the Demon Hunter College, they didn't dare to provoke them easily. I'll give you face, but this kid won't give us face. Yun Hanhai sneered. With a move of his arm, a long sword appeared in his hand. His gaze swept over Vice Commander Xiao and the others, carrying a trace of killing intent. You are already injured. You are no match for us now. Don't force us into a corner. Clang, clang, clang. Behind him, the group of Young Master's mercenary group members directly pulled out their weapons, especially those middle-aged men. Their bodies were filled with killing intent as they coldly stared at the Amethyst mercenary group members. We will not take a step back, Vice Commander Xiao said with a resolute expression. Good, good. Yun Hanhai's expression changed slightly as he looked to the side. Lu Zisher, kill this brat for me. In the future, there will be benefits for all of you. Oh! The group of youths from the Zhan High Mercenary Group who were standing at the side and watching the situation suddenly froze when they heard Yun Hanhai's words. The expression of the youth in the lead changed slightly. Vice Commander Yin. Are we in or out? Yun Hanhai's sharp gaze looked over. That youth's leader revealed a hesitant expression. You dare? Zhan High Mercenary Group. If you dare to make a move, you'll be making an enemy out of our Amethyst mercenary group. Vice Commander Xiao looked over and coldly said, I will take care of the financial mercenary group for you. Yun Han Hai revealed a smile as he stared at Vice Commander Shao and the others. As long as one of you dares to protect that brat, my young master's mercenary group will kill anyone. I, Yun Han Hai, will definitely do what I say. Hearing his words, the faces of the Amethyst mercenary group instantly turned ugly. The young leader of the Zhan Hai mercenary group had a drastic change of expression as he looked at his companions. All right, Vice Leader Yin, we will listen to your orders. In the end, the young man gritted his teeth and said loudly, All right, don't worry. I will definitely reward all of you in the future. Yun Han Hai revealed a smile and laughed out loud. Yes, it's Vice Captain Yin. The group of young men nodded with smiles on their faces. They looked at Wang Xian, who was behind the Amethyst mercenary group, with a hint of killing intent in their eyes. Kid, if you want to blame someone, blame yourself for offending the young masters, mercenary group, and Vice Captain Yun and the rest. You're the one who's courting death. You can't blame anyone else. As they spoke, they slowly walked towards Wang Xian. The Amethyst mercenary group stared at them coldly. However, they were not afraid. Although the Amethyst mercenary group was ranked higher than the Young Master's mercenary group, the Young Master's mercenary group was even more terrifying. Between these two mercenary groups, they knew what to choose. All right. Just you wait and see. Zhan Hai's mercenary group. A girl stared at them angrily. Whoever dares to stop Zhan Hai's friends will be killed. Yun Han Hai glanced at the girl and ordered the people beside him. Yes, Vice Leader. A dozen middle-aged men nodded heavily. They held their weapons and glared at the members of the Amethyst mercenary group with killing intent. They had no doubt that these people would attack them. The members of the Amethyst mercenary group, who were already severely injured, were no match for them. This made the girls bite their lips tightly and stare at the Zhan Hai mercenary group with murderous intent. The young men of the Zhan Hai mercenary group ignored them and walked towards Wang Xian, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground with their weapons in hand. Deputy Leader, what should we do? Qing looked worried when she saw them walking towards Wang Xian. She asked anxiously. Deputy Leader Shao was also extremely embarrassed. His expression kept changing. A smile appeared on Yun Han Hai's face. He stood there arrogantly and said loudly, How dare you offend our young master's mercenary group? Forget about the purple crystal. Even if the Tiger Lion mercenary group wanted to protect him, they wouldn't be able to do so. Hurry up and make your move. He snorted coldly, and the young men from the Zhan Hai mercenary group quickened their pace. The faces of the Amethyst mercenary group turned pale. They held their weapons tightly and were ready to make their move at any time. Phew, get out of the way. At this moment, Wang Xian opened his eyes slowly and said to the group of girls from the Amethyst mercenary group in front of him, You're awake. All the girls turned their heads immediately. When they saw Wang Xian standing up, they were pleasantly surprised. Student Wang, the injuries on your body. Qing walked over hurriedly and wanted to reach out to help him up. However, when she saw that Wang Xian had already stood up, she said helplessly, It will take a few more days for you to recover. However, you can make your move now. While they were confronting each other, Wang Xian had already recovered a little of his energy. He smiled and said again, Get out of the way first. I'll kill them first. The members of the Amethyst mercenary group felt a chill in their hearts. One by one, the girls quickly made way for them. Kill us? Kid, are you out of your mind? When Yun Han Hai saw the members of the Amethyst mercenary group making way for them, he raised his head slightly and said with a smile on his face, The members of your young master's mercenary group are really courting death. Wang Xian slowly picked up the lightning strike wood. There was a bluish-green glow on it as he gently placed it on the ground. Whoosh! 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 What? If you dare to attack, kill him. When the lightning strike would landed on the ground, numerous thorns that were accompanied by lightning instantly emerged from the ground and attacked the members of the young master's mercenary group. When Yun Hanhai saw that Wang Xian still dared to attack, his eyes were filled with killing intent. However, at this moment, a thorn pierced through the body of the middle-aged man who was a level 6 transcendent. This stunned Yun Hanhai instantly. Aha! The screams of the level 6 transcendent were just the beginning. Later on, the members of the young master's mercenary group were killed instantly without any strength to resist. Yun Hanhai's face was filled with shock, his body trembled, and the armor on his body emitted a blazing flame. Everyone in the young master's mercenary group and the Zhanhai mercenary group were stunned. Chapter 993 was terrified. Bang, bang, bang. An intense sound rang out as the terrifying thorns landed on Yun Hanhai's body, producing an ear-piercing sound. However, compared to the attacks on his body, the surrounding sounds were even more terrifying. The miserable cries caused Yun Hanhai's entire body to go numb. The Zhanhai mercenary group at the side looked at this scene in a daze. Slaughter, it was a simple slaughter. Many thorns crawled out from the ground, attacking the young master's group. Other than Yun Hanhai, who had a Type 7 transcendent armor to defend against the thorns, the rest of the 19 were not so lucky. Even the 2 Type 6 experts were pierced through by the thorns. They couldn't put up any resistance at all. This made them feel exceptionally terrifying. They looked at the miserable-looking young man and couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Their hearts were filled with fear. He was able to unleash terrifying attacks with such serious injuries. If he was at his peak, wouldn't he be able to insta-kill them even more easily? If Wang Xian's attack made the members of the Zhanhai mercenary group feel fearful. At this moment, Yun Hanhai's body began to tremble violently. He was wearing the life-saving armor given to him by his father. It was a level 7 extraordinary flame armor. However, Yun Hanhai's body was trembling slightly as he felt the strength of the thorns landing on his body. His body was emitting a scorching heat as though his entire body was wrapped in lava. His eyes were trembling non-stop. Bang, bang, bang. 5 seconds later, the screams came to an abrupt end. One by one, the corpses fell to the ground. How is this possible? How can he be so strong? This is impossible. Yun Hanhai mumbled as he looked at Wang Xian, who was standing more than 10 meters away in disbelief. Wang Xian looked at him as well. There was no emotion on his face. An armor of transcendent level 7. He is really rich. He smiled and slowly raised the lightning strike wood in his hand. Seeing that he was about to attack again, Yun Hanhai widened his eyes and was filled with panic. No, don't kill me. I'm in the wrong. Don't kill me. Yun Hanhai pleaded with Wang Xian. Kneel down. Wang Xian said to him indifferently. Yun Hanhai's expression changed drastically. Following that, he knelt on the ground with a thud. I beg you, please don't kill me. Our young master's mercenary group will never dare to provoke you again. Give me a chance. I'll give you spirit stones. I'll give you as many as you want. Yun Hanhai's eyes were slightly red as he cried at Wang Xian. He no longer had the arrogance from before. The amethyst mercenary group at the side looked at Yun Hanhai kneeling and begging for mercy with a complicated expression. This was the deputy leader of the young master's mercenary group, the famous young Master Yun in the Demon Hunters Academy. However, he was now kneeling down and begging for mercy in front of a new student. If the students in the Demon Hunters Academy were to know about this, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. The flaw is out. Wang Xian looked at Yun Hanhai kneeling on the ground. A smile appeared on his face as he moved the lightning strike wood in his hand. A thorn came out from the ground and pierced through Yun Hanhai's body in an instant. As for where it came from, it was hard to describe. A broken chrysanthemum. You. Yun Han Hai widened his eyes. His eyes were filled with despair and unwillingness. The girls from the Amethyst mercenary group and the young men from the Zhan Hai mercenary group revealed a hint of fear in their eyes. He had actually killed Yun Han Hai. This was the most outstanding disciple of the Yun family in Donghai City, the deputy leader of the Young Masters mercenary group. If the Yun family found out about this, how could they let him off? Phew! Wang Xian exhaled heavily and turned his head to look at the people of the Zhan Hai mercenary group. The leader of the Zhan Hai mercenary group and the young men trembled when they saw him looking over. Student Wang, young Master Wang, we were forced just now. Please, leader. Before he could finish his sentence, Ao Jian and the rest suddenly appeared. When they saw Wang Xian, they immediately flew over. The arrival of Ao Jian and the rest interrupted the conversation of the members of the Zhan Hai mercenary group. With outsiders around, they all addressed Wang Xian as their leader. Wang Xian looked at Ao Jian and sensed the group of strange monsters around them. A smile appeared on his face. Kill them. He pointed at the members of the Zhan Hai mercenary group and said calmly, It's the leader. Ao Jian and the rest nodded. Without any pause, they charged towards the members of the Zhan Hai mercenary group. Leader Wang. The faces of the members of the Zhan Hai mercenary group changed drastically. They shouted at Wang Xian with an embarrassed look on their faces as they hurriedly blocked the attacks of Ao Jian and the rest. However, their strength was at least at level 5 of the supernatural realm. Some of them were even at level 4 of the supernatural realm. They were no match for Ao Jian and the rest. Very soon, the screams of the members of the Zhan Hai mercenary group could be heard. Wang Xian ignored them. If he wanted to kill them, he had to be prepared to be killed, even if they were students of the Demon Hunters Academy. Wang Xian took a look at the members of the Amethyst mercenary group and sat cross-legged on the ground to continue recovering from his injuries. The group of girls from the Amethyst mercenary group felt a chill down their spines when they saw the corpses on the ground. The Young Masters mercenary group consisted of 20 people, while the Zhan Hai mercenary group consisted of more than 10 people. All of them were elite students of the Demon Hunters Academy. However, they were killed by that freshman. The group of girls looked at each other, their eyes filled with complicated emotions. If they had targeted him back then, would they have ended up like Young Master's mercenary group and Zhan Hai's mercenary group? But now, no matter what, he was their savior. Gentlemen, please tell Commander Wang after he wakes up. We will definitely repay his kindness today. The Yun family is a famous family in Donghai City. Everyone in the Demon Hunters Academy knows that Yun Han Hai has come to Thunder Island to kill Commander Wang. Therefore, tell him to be careful. We will take our leave first. The group of girls stood there and hesitated for a while. Then, Deputy Commander Xiao said to Ao Jian and the rest who were standing around Wang Xian, All right. Ao Jian nodded at her. Deputy Chief Xiao waved his hand at the group of girls beside him. He came to a spot not far away and sat down to recuperate as well. The injuries this time are really serious. After more than 10 hours, Wang Xian woke up. Looking at the wounds on his body that had already recovered, a smile appeared on his face. Lightning Wood. First level Void Interpretation. A wood-attributed Void Interpretation item with the lightning attribute. It contained a strong vitality. A treasure of the Void-Seeing level with wood attribute can continue to grow and evolve on the ancestral tree. However, it is a good choice to use it as my weapon now. Wang Xian looked at the thunderstruck wood and stood up slowly. After more than 10 hours, Wang Xian's injuries had mostly recovered due to his strong recovery ability and the vitality in the thunderstruck wood. Ao Yao, have you killed all the thunderfish on the mountain peak? Chapter 994, returned with a full load. Dragon King, we have killed all of them. We have obtained a total of 8 extraordinary level 8 thunderfish bodies and 7 extraordinary level 8 thunderfruits. We came back directly because we were worried about your safety, Dragon King. Ao Yao said to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head and looked at the main peak. Let's go up and hunt the remaining thunderfish for the thunderfruits. It's the Dragon King. Ao Yao, Ao Jian, and the rest nodded their heads and followed Wang Xian towards the main peak. This time, Wang Xian did not have any scruples. He activated the light-dark fire dragon eye technique and flew towards the main peak. All the creatures in the mountain peak were within his sight. Once he noticed them, he pointed with his arm and the group of strange demons attacked. The top-grade thunderfish on the main peak had been killed. It was no exaggeration to say that they were able to move unhindered across the entire Thunder Island. The main peak had the most treasures on the Thunder Island. Although the thunderfruits were precious, Wang Xian managed to obtain 7 to 8 of them in just 10 minutes. The main peak occupied an area of about 2,000 meters. Wang Xian and the rest used 5 hours to sweep through it. All the thunderfish on it were killed by Wang Xian and the rest, and almost all the thunderfruits were obtained by them. Bang! 5 hours later, Wang Xian landed below the main peak. He checked the rewards in his interspatial ring and was very satisfied. There were 8 thunderfish corpses of level 8 transcendence. There were 23 thunderfish corpses of level 7 transcendence. There were 55 thunderfish corpses of level 6 transcendence. In addition, there were 7 thunderfruits at transcendent level 8. There were 19 thunderfruits at transcendent level 7. There were 28 thunderfruits at transcendent level 6. There were 45 thunderfish corpses at transcendent level 5. Other than that, there were also the corpses of the Young Masters mercenary group and the members of the Zhan Hai mercenary group. In their interspatial rings, Wang Xian had obtained a total of more than 30 million spirit stones. The flame armor at transcendent level 7 from Yunhan Hai was worth more than 20 million middle-grade spirit stones. The harvest this time could increase Wang Xian by at least 300,000 dragon crystals. It was a huge harvest. 300,000 dragon crystals can increase all my subordinates to transcendent level 5. Wang Xian calculated in his heart. Ao Jian and the rest could be comparable to a transcendent level 6 when they were promoted to transcendent level 5. When a group of strange demons were promoted to level 5, they could be comparable to a transcendent level 7. 20 strange demons that were equivalent to level 7 of the supernatural realm were considered the best in the East Sea City. Not to mention there was also Ao Yao. Let's go back. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before making a decision. Since he had obtained all the main treasures on the Thunder Island, Wang Xian did not plan to continue searching around. He moved his body and immediately flew out. Ao Yao and the rest followed behind him. After flying out of the Thunder Island, the surrounding sky was extremely oppressive. Thick black clouds were in the sky. They did not fly far before a rainstorm started to fall from the sky. Raindrops the size of a fist fell into the sea. It looked like the end of the world. What a heavy rain! Wang Xian looked at the rainstorm that was falling from the sky and raised his head to take a look. According to the records, it is the most dangerous when there is a thunderstorm. It is best not to fly in the sky. Wang Xian thought to himself. He increased his speed and flew forward. Chirp, chirp. Is there a battle over there? At this moment, Wang Xian looked to his right and narrowed his eyes slightly. According to the records, ferocious beasts were the most active when there was a thunderstorm. It's the cloud clams, a kind of ferocious beast that lives in the dark clouds. This group of people is in trouble. Wang Xian looked over and saw 4 to 5 figures falling into the sea. They were severely injured. Brother, help. Help us. At this moment, a figure ran over in a panic and cried out for help in fear. Chirp, chirp. A sharp sound rang out. It was a 3-meter-long creature with a very long neck. Its entire body was covered with black wings as it flew towards Wang Xian and the rest. Their eyes were blood red and they were extremely bloodthirsty. A bunch of cloud clams with level 6 transcendence. If you can't handle them, you should run away quickly. The young man who was running towards them reminded them in horror. Level 6 transcendence. Wang Xian looked over. This young man was kind enough to inform them in advance. The feathers on the cloud clams occupy 80% of their body. Their feathers are very precious and of high value. Wang Xian had an idea. He gestured to Ao Jian and the rest and flew over immediately. Chirp, chirp. The young man was dodging the attacks of the 2 cloud clams. He didn't even have the strength to dodge the storm. He looked extremely pathetic. When he saw Wang Xian and the rest flying towards him, he revealed an excited expression. Thank you for saving us, brother. Wang Xian took a glance at the young man and waved the lightning wood in his hand. A wooden spike instantly entered the body of the cloud toad. However, this wooden spike actually penetrated through the thick feathers. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. His eyes flickered with a demonic glow as he waved his arm again. Chirp, chirp. 2 miserable cries rang out. A golden swordfish flew over and kept it into his interspatial ring. Brother, thank you. Thank you, brother. The young man was stunned when he saw Wang Xian's attack. Then he said with a face full of gratitude, Okay. Wang Xian nodded his head faintly and looked ahead. There were more than 10 young men who were entangled by the cloud clams. Wang Xian moved his body, and the lightning wood in his hand emitted a dazzling light. The wooden thorns pierced through the clams one by one. A group of supernatural level 6 ferocious beasts fell into the sea, one by one in an instant. The golden swordfish, who was prepared, kept the dead bodies into his interspatial ring. Spirit enchantment. Wang Xian felt a burst of energy from his body. The special energy from Fu Changshu entered the lightning wood directly, and he waved his arm. This lightning strike would seem to have a life of its own as it attacked the last few cloud clams in the sky. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The void interpretation level lightning strike would instantly penetrated the vital parts of the cloud clams one by one. The dozen young men who were attacked by the cloud clams were stunned. A hint of shock could be seen in their eyes. Thank you, Senior, for saving us. Thank you, Senior. Our Void Beast Demon Hunting Group is grateful for your kindness in saving us. The group of young men came to their senses. They quickly bowed and said to Wang Xian. Wang Xian glanced at them and ignored them. He looked at the black clouds in the sky with a smile in his eyes. Let's go. He shouted softly and dashed into the clouds. What? Senior, be careful. That's the cloud clam's lair. This senior is so young and his strength is so terrifying. He killed the cloud clam who was at transcendent level 6 in one move. It's too terrifying. He must be at least at transcendent level 8. Phew, our luck is really good. Let's go to the sea and check on He, Hu, and the rest. I hope they are all right. More than 10 young men were still in shock as they watched Wang Xian and the rest dash into the dark clouds. Chapter 995. At the banquet. The cloud clam was a fierce beast unique to the thunderstorm area. They lived in the black clouds. This kind of fierce beast was unusually rare. They would only come out of the black clouds when there was a rainstorm. The feathers on this kind of fierce beast were very precious in Eastern Sea City. The value of a cloud clam was comparable to 2 fierce beasts of the same level. The reason was its feathers. This kind of black feather could allow people to swim freely under the sea, and it also had a powerful defense. The equipment made by the cloud clam was very valuable in East Sea City. Once it appeared, it would be quickly snatched away. In the records of the thunderstorm area, the cloud clam was very rare. This time, the aerial beast mercenary group had to go through many investigations to find the location where the cloud clam was gathered. However, what they didn't expect was that the cloud clams in this nest were too strong. Wang Xian rushed into the dark clouds and discovered that there were more than 20 cloud clams inside. Among them, there were 3 of them who were at Transcendent Level 7. Not bad again. Wang Xian was full of smiles as the group of strange demons started to move quickly. Wang Xian held the lightning strike wood in his hand and also attacked the cloud clams one by one. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Urgent cries came from the dark clouds. In less than 10 minutes, all the cloud clams were killed by them. After storing them into his interspatial ring, Wang Xian searched the surroundings. After confirming that there were no cloud clams in the surroundings, he dared to return. After more than an hour, Wang Xian and the rest returned to Donghai City. Looking at the mercenary groups and chambers of commerce that were coming and going in the surroundings, Wang Xian took out his communication stone plate and sent a message to Supervisor E of Donghai City's Phoenix Elixir and Weapons Workshop. Very soon, after receiving a reply, Wang Xian immediately walked towards the Fengxian Elixir and Weapons Workshop. In Donghai City, the Fengxian Elixir and Weapons Workshop had 4 shops. There was a shop next to the Demon Hunters Academy in the Eastern District. Wang Xian knew the location of Fengxian and walked straight into the shop. The shop took up a total of 7 to 8 rooms and looked very luxurious. However, there wasn't a single customer in the shop. Captain Wang. When Wang Xian walked in, Supervisor He came up to him directly. Under the astonished gaze of the waiters in the shop, he was led to the VIP area. Captain Wang, you've been here for a few days, right? Is there anything we can help you with? Supervisor He poured a cup of tea for Wang Xian enthusiastically and asked with a smile, "Buy some elixirs." Wang Xian smiled and said directly, "Leader Wang, tell me how many elixirs you need. I'll get someone to prepare them immediately." Supervisor E looked at Wang Xian with anticipation. "Yes, 180 million middle-grade spirit stones." Wang Xian took out a few interspatial rings directly. 180 million spirit stones. This was the reward for the dragon spike assassination, as well as the rewards he obtained in the past 2 days. Director E was stunned for a moment before a look of joy appeared on his face. Good. Leader Wang, I'll get someone to prepare it immediately." "Oh, right, Director. E, do you accept the corpses of the ferocious beasts here?" Wang Xian asked. He had quite a number of the corpses of the ferocious beasts in his hands. These corpses were already dead, so devouring them would not be able to increase the dragon energy. The dragon pond and the dragon palace was too far away from this place, so he could only sell them temporarily. The carcasses of ferocious beasts, take them. If Leader Wang wants to sell them, we will purchase them at the market price. Supervisor, he said directly. All right, take a look. Wang Xian took out more than 10 interspatial rings and said to her, interspatial rings were still very precious on the Transcendence continent. A 10 cubic meter interspatial ring cost 1 million middle-grade spirit stones. Many extraordinary experts had interspatial rings that were around 1 cubic meter. However, these interspatial rings were all obtained from Earth. He had a total of more than 100. Among them, there were 7 or 8 interspatial rings that were 100 square meters in size. It was more than enough to hold a group of fierce beast corpses. This supervisor, he suddenly widened his eyes. 8 corpses of a level 8 supernatural realm killer. These were level 8 supernatural realm beasts. In Donghai City, there were no more than 5 mercenary groups that could hunt level 8 supernatural realm beasts. Cloud Toad. Her eyes sparkled. Leader Wang, the corpses of your beasts are worth 300 to 400 million middle-grade spirit stones. Do you want them? Wang Xian asked. Yes, of course I want them. Manager, he quickly said, Leader Wang, do you want to exchange them for medicinal pills? All of them. All right, the price we offer will definitely satisfy Leader Wang. Manager, he said with excitement in his eyes. A single transaction was worth 500 to 600 million middle-grade spirit stones. Even if it was a year's worth of transactions from the 4 shops in EC City, it would only be this amount. Leader Wang, after a period of time, some of the higher-ups of our Fengxian Guild will come to the East Sea City. At that time, our Fengxian Guild will hold an auction. I wonder if Leader Wang is interested? Supervisor Yi called the shopkeeper over and instructed him to prepare the elixirs. Then he spoke to Wang Xian. We'll see when the time comes. Wang Xian thought for a moment and said, All right, I'll contact Captain Wang when the time comes. Supervisor Yi nodded his head. Under Supervisor Yi's enthusiasm, Wang Xian left the Phoenix Elixir and Weapons Workshop and headed straight for his residence. Supervisor Yi's eyes sparkled as he watched Wang Xian's back. To think that he was able to hunt and kill a ferocious beast of extraordinary 8th level. This Phoenix Immortal Mercenary Group is really mysterious and unpredictable. They are able to take out so many spirit stones every time. I really don't know how he got them. She muttered. Hey, what's wrong with Supervisor E? It's not easy for a customer to enter your shop to buy things. Are you very reluctant? Haha, can you earn a few hundred spirit stones today? At this moment, a mocking voice came from the side. Supervisor E looked over and saw the shopkeeper of the Life and Death Pill Workshop looking at him mockingly. Humph. Supervisor E sneered and turned around to walk into the shop. Hee hee. I heard that your Phoenix Immortal will hold a large-scale auction in a month's time. At that time, we and the Holy Item Forging Workshop will also hold one. At this moment, the shopkeeper of the Life and Death Pill Workshop's voice sounded again. This caused Supervisor E to be stunned. His eyes revealed a grave expression as he walked into the shop uneasily. Hee hee, Fengxian, you want to make an enemy out of our Life and Death Pill Workshop and the Holy Item Forging Workshop. You're courting death. Just wait and see. It won't be long before you close down. The shopkeeper of the Life and Death Pill Workshop muttered coldly. Wang Xian returned to his residence and immediately took out all the pills. There were more than 500 million spirit stones, worth of pills, than he had expected. It could increase the strength of the group of Dragon Palace members by at least 400,000 dragon crystals. The strength of the group of Dragon Palace members would be greatly enhanced. Wang Xian swallowed the pills one by one and began to increase the strength of the golden swordfish and the strange demon. 400,000 dragon crystals was a terrifying amount of energy. It was enough for them to undergo another huge improvement. After Wang Xian had used up all the dragon crystals, the 11 golden swordfish had all reached Transcendence, level 5. 19 strange demons had also reached Transcendence, level 5, and 1 had reached Transcendence, level 6. Supreme Dragon Cultivation Method. Chapter 996, at the banquet. In the next few days, Wang Xian made a trip to the Demon Hunter Academy. After he handed in a level 5 extraordinary thunderfruit as a mission, the 1-star gold grade mission was considered to be completed. As for the other thunderfruits, they were consumed by Wang Xian to upgrade the level 6 extraordinary demon. It could also be considered to make up for the lack of level 8 extraordinary combat strength. After a period of improvement, Wang Xian, who had a fortune of billions, became poor again. In the past few days, Wang Xian did not go to the academy after a day of lessons. With his strength, he would not be able to learn anything in there. 3 to 4 days passed in a row. In the past 2 days, there was a rather sensational news on the Demon Hunter Academy's forum. Yun Hanhai has yet to return to Thunder Island with Young Master's mercenary group. Yun Hanhai and the members of Young Master's mercenary group are currently unable to contact any information. The two pieces of news started to spread 2 days ago, and at the beginning, not many people paid attention to it. Going out to do anything and not returning. It was normal for them to be unable to contact each other. However, 2 days had passed, and these two pieces of news gradually caused many people to guess. Some people even said that the members of the young master's mercenary group were currently asking the mercenary group that went to the Thunder Island for a mission if they had seen Yun Han Hai and the rest. The moment this news was released, it caused many people to be shocked. Yun Han Hai and the young master's mercenary group went to the Thunder Island to kill the new student, Wang Xian. I heard from Wang Xian's classmates that he has already returned. Why hasn't Yun Han Hai and the rest returned yet? I saw the members of the Yun family heading to the young master's mercenary group yesterday. Could it be that something has really happened to Yun Han Hai? Could this matter be related to Wang Xian? Yun Han Hai and the rest went to kill Wang Xian. Now that Wang Xian is fine, they have disappeared. Everyone in the Demon Hunters Academy was discussing in astonishment. However, following that, many people dismissed this idea. With the strength of that freshman Wang Xian, even if Yun Han Hai were to stand there and let him fight, he wouldn't be able to kill him with the equipment on his body. That's right. I heard that the young master's mercenary group sent 3 level 6 extraordinary experts and a group of level 5 extraordinary experts. It's impossible for this freshman to kill them. When they went to the Thunder Island, all the experts from the Amethyst mercenary group were injured and returned. Could it be that the young master's mercenary group also met with misfortune? It's very possible. Even Deputy Leader Shao was injured badly. I heard that they almost didn't make it back. Yun Han Hai and the rest might really have met with an accident. The discussion in the Demon Hunters Academy's forum was ongoing. However, no one linked the death of the young master's mercenary group to Wang Xian. Phew, looks like the death of Yun Han Hai and the rest won't make people think that it was Wang Xian who did it. At this moment, in the base of the Amethyst mercenary group of the Demon Hunters Academy, a group of core members of Amethyst were sitting in a room. Deputy Captain Shao looked at the message on the forum and heaved a sigh of relief. Even if the young master's mercenary group knows that it was Wang Xian who did it, they won't be able to do anything to him with his strength. A girl said with a twinkle in her eyes, "The young master's mercenary group might not be able to do anything, but the Yun family will not let him off. Wang Xian is very strong, but he is not a match for the Yun family." A female student beside him said. The rest of them nodded. When Deputy Leader Shao and the rest came back to tell them about the incident, no one dared to believe it. A freshman killed a group of level 6 supernatural beasts and Yun Han Hai and the rest in an instant when he was severely injured. How strong could he be? He was at least at level 7 transcendent. There wasn't a single level 7 transcendent among the students of the Demon Hunter College. They couldn't believe what they heard. Their commander Feng Yin, one of the top 3 experts in the college, was still far from level 7 transcendent. Yuan, since he saved you, he is the benefactor of our Amethyst mercenary group. If we can help him, we will. Sitting in the center was a tall girl. She was at least 9 meters tall and wore black armor. One could vaguely see her perfect figure. She had golden eyes, golden hair, and a wild aura around her. She was the leader of the Amethyst mercenary group, Zhang Etian, who had the bloodline of the winged demonic beast. She sat there and muttered to herself, "Invite him to the banquet tomorrow afternoon." Oh, Leader Jean invite him? The other leaders mentioned that they wanted to talk about the mission in the Dragon Wind region. Xiao Yuanyuan said in surprise, "Leader, do you mean to bring him along?" "Yes, he is very strong. We, Amethyst, owe him a favor. Let's repay him," Zhang Etian said with a frown. "All right." Xiao Yuanyuan nodded and looked to the side. "Qin Qing, go and send the invitation to Wang Xian." "Me?" Qin Qing was stunned and stood up. Yes, Wang Xian has saved you twice. It's better to build a closer relationship with such a strong person. You can go. Xiao Yuan said to Qin Qing with a smile. It's the vice leader. Qin Qing hesitated for a moment before nodding her head. In a house beside the Demon Hunters Academy, Wang Xian had rested for 4 to 5 days. He had completely recovered and was about to continue looking for missions to carry out when he saw Ao Jian attracting a girl from outside. He was stunned. Oh, is there something wrong? Wang Xian looked at Qin Qing and asked with some doubt. Commander Wang, I'm here to give you an invitation card. Our commander asked me to give it to you. Qin Qing walked to Wang Xian's side helplessly and handed him an invitation card. He took it in surprise. Our commander said that there will be a hiring mission for this banquet. If Commander Wang is interested, you can come and take a look. Qin Qing didn't dare to look at him. In the past, Wang Xian had crippled her brother's limbs. She had thought that when she became stronger, she would seek revenge for her brother. Now, she had no such thoughts at all. All right. Wang Xian took a look and nodded at her. Also, I apologize on behalf of my brother. He's young and reckless. Qin Qing lowered her head and apologized. It's all right. I didn't take it to heart. Wang Xian shook his head. I'll be leaving first then. After Qin Qing finished speaking, she immediately ran out. Wang Xian took a look and smiled faintly. This girl was really kind-hearted. The banquet, the elite mercenary group banquet of the Demon Hunters Academy. Wang Xian looked at the name of the invitation card and his eyes flickered. It's not a mission. To think that the Amethyst mercenary group would take it so seriously. Let's go and take a look. He thought to himself and didn't plan to go out to look for missions. The next evening, Wang Xian walked out wearing simple clothes. This time, the Demon Hunters Academy's elite mercenary group banquet could be said to be a gathering of the elite students of the Demon Hunters Academy. The banquet was held in a mountain villa behind the Demon Hunters Academy. The mountain villa was called the Demon Hunters Mountain Villa. It was a large-scale gathering place. Chapter 997. You have offended too many people. Demon Hunter Villa. Wang Xian stood in front of a luxurious door. He looked at the plaque in front of him and walked straight in. Private gathering. Please show me your invitation card. When he reached the door, a young man stretched out his hand and said to him. Wang Xian handed the invitation card over casually. With the young man's nod, he walked in. There was only one path in the surroundings, so he wasn't afraid of taking the wrong path. The entire villa was planted with spiritual herbs of the first level of transcendence. Taking a breath would make one feel refreshed. The surrounding environment was very beautiful. Rockery and ponds were not inferior to those big villas and manors on Earth. It was even more magical. The gathering of the Demon Hunters Academy is here. Passing through a small path, a service staff member spoke to him at the intersection. Wang Xian walked for dozens of meters and saw a field. The field was open air and there were some tables and chairs placed on it. At this moment, there were already many people there. At least 100 young men and women were sitting inside. A group of people were drinking and discussing something. Wang Xian walked straight over and took a glance. He didn't see anyone from the Amethyst mercenary group. He found a random seat and took a sip of the wine on the table. Some of the students didn't recognize Wang Xian when they saw him entering. Wang Xian had only stayed in the academy for less than 2 days. There weren't many students who had seen him. I heard that the Yun family went to the young master's mercenary group again yesterday. Did they receive any news? There is still no news from the 20 people in the young master's mercenary group. It seems like they are doomed. The young master's mercenary group suffered a great loss in this matter. Not only did they not kill Wang Xian, but they even lost their lives on the Thunder Island. I think that after such a thing happened, that kid named Wang Xian will die even more. The young master's mercenary group will not let him off. Even the Yun family will kill him to vent their anger. Just as Wang Xian was sitting there and waiting, a group of more than 10 people walked over to him. They were chatting in low voices. "This student, do you have anyone here?" A young man took a look at Wang Xian and asked him. "No one." Wang Xian shook his head and sipped the wine in his cup. The good wine from the supernatural continent was slightly better. It could be 50 to 60 years old, or even a few hundred years old. The taste was completely incomparable to those on Earth. "Dear student, which mercenary group are you from? You look a little unfamiliar." After a dozen of them sat down, a young man looked at Wang Xian and asked with a smile, "The Immortal Phoenix Mercenary Group." Wang Xian replied with a smile, "The Immortal Phoenix Mercenary Group? Why haven't I heard of it before?" A hint of doubt appeared in the young man's eyes. "Someone sent an invitation." Wang Xian said faintly, "Oh." The young man nodded and raised his head slightly. He smiled and said, "We are from the Tornado Mercenary Group." Wang Xian nodded. When the young man saw that Wang Xian didn't have the envious look that he had imagined, he turned his head away unhappily and ignored him. "Are the little guys from our Tornado Mercenary Group here yet?" "Yes, they are here. Those little guys are ecstatic when they heard that they could come to this gathering. I think they will be here soon." "Yeah, we should recruit 1 or 2 good seedlings this time and nurture them well." The people from the Tornado Mercenary Group were chatting beside them. Leader, deputy leader, seniors. In less than 5 minutes, 3 to 4 figures walked over. They had excited expressions on their faces as they walked over with a smile. "Take a seat." A young man nodded at them and pointed to a few seats beside them. "Yes, leader." The 4 young men responded immediately and walked towards the seats beside Wang Xian. However, when one of the young men pulled a chair and was about to sit down, he was stunned when he saw Wang Xian. Why are you here?" Duan Qingwen widened his eyes and whispered with an embarrassed expression. Now that he was facing Wang Xian, he didn't dare to speak loudly, let alone mock him. "Huh, it's him." When the other young men heard Duan Qingwen's voice, they were stunned when they turned around. "Oh, what's wrong? Do you guys know each other?" The young man who spoke to Wang Xian earlier asked curiously. "Senior, he is Wang Xian from our class," Duan Qingwen said with an unpleasant expression. When he finished his sentence, the surroundings instantly turned silent. Everyone looked at Wang Xian in unison. Their expressions changed slightly. "Wang Xian, the freshman Wang Xian." The young man who was sitting in the middle immediately stood up and asked in a deep voice, "Yes, leader, that's the one." Duan Qingwen nodded in slight astonishment. "How did you get in here?" The leader of the Tornado Mercenary Group kept changing his expression as he stared at Wang Xian with a dark expression. "Wang Xian, the new Wang Xian. How did this fellow get here?" He even dared to invite him over. This fellow not only offended the Amethyst Mercenary Group, but also the Young Master Mercenary Group. Now Yunhan Hai and the others had disappeared because of this guy. He was someone that the Young Master's Mercenary Group wanted to destroy. Who would dare to invite him over? No one would dare. No one in the Demon Hunters Academy would dare. But now this guy was sitting with them. If the others didn't know, they would think that it was their Tornado Mercenary Group who had brought him over. If this was seen by the Young Master's Mercenary Group, the Tornado Mercenary Group wouldn't be able to explain it clearly. Of course he walked in. Wang Xian saw the young man staring at him. He frowned and said faintly, "Walked in. I don't care how you came in. Stay away from us." The leader of the Tornado Mercenary Group stared at him with a dark expression. "Huh." Duan Qingwen was slightly stunned when he saw the captain's reaction. Then a gloating expression appeared in his eyes. "You want me to stay away from you guys? If I remember correctly, I was the one who came first." Wang Xian stared at the young man and said expressionlessly, "If I want you to leave, then leave immediately." "Why? Do you want us to ask you to leave?" The young man standing next to the captain of the Tornado Mercenary Group also realized the problem. He stared at Wang Xian and said with a frosty expression, "Wang Xian, I think you should stay away from us. How dare a person like you come here? You are really courting death." Duan Qingwen also spoke up. Now that he had joined the Tornado Mercenary Group and the captain had already asked Wang Xian to leave, he wanted to add insult to injury. If he could leave a good impression on the captain and the rest, why would he be afraid of Wang Xian? At the thought of this, he looked down from above. His eyes were filled with mockery. "Hee, I'd like to see how you guys are going to ask me to leave." Wang Xian's eyes revealed a cold expression. He stared at them and sat there motionlessly. Bang! "I think you really don't want to take the easy way out. Kid, you've offended too many people. Get out of our place." Chapter 998. The Amethyst Mercenary Group made their move. Bang! "I think you're really asking for it. Kid, you've offended too many people. Get the hell out of here." With a loud bang, the leader of the Tornado Mercenary Group slammed his palm on the table. He stared at Wang Xian coldly and shouted loudly. The commotion here immediately aroused the curiosity of the other students. Everyone looked over curiously. "Student Wang Xian, our regiment commander has already told you to scram. Why are you still sitting here?" Duan Qingwen's lips curled up slightly. He looked at Duan Qingwen with a mocking expression as he spoke loudly. "Wang Xian? Which Wang Xian? The new Wang Xian? No way! How did he come here?" When the crowd heard Duan Qingwen's words, they were stunned. Some of them walked over with curious expressions. They had heard a lot about Wang Xian during this period of time, but they had never seen him in person. They wanted to see who was the person who dared to provoke the young master's mercenary group so recklessly. "You want me to scram? What right do you have?" A hint of killing intent flashed in Wang Xian's eyes. He stood up coldly and glanced at the people from the Tornado Mercenary Group. He paused on Duan Qingwen. "You." Duan Qingwen felt a chill in his heart when he saw Wang Xian staring at him. Following that, he glared at Wang Xian furiously. "Qualifications? Kid, I don't care how you managed to sneak in. Leave us now. Otherwise, our Tornado Mercenary Group will let you know what qualifications are." The leader of the Tornado Mercenary Group stared at Wang Xian with a threatening look. They were not afraid of this new student. Even if this kid had severed the arms of an extraordinary level 4 powerhouse, his strength was extraordinary. However, he was still far from being comparable to them. "Oh, then I would like to see your qualifications." Wang Xian sneered as he stared at the members of the Tornado Mercenary Group. "This is the new student, Wang Xian. He's a little arrogant." "Yeah, he's really arrogant. He actually dared to challenge the Tornado Mercenary Group. The Tornado Mercenary Group is not weak at all. He even dared to offend the young master's mercenary group. Not to mention that he has gone crazy. In my opinion, he's courting death." When the people around saw Wang Xian, they started to discuss among themselves. They didn't try to hide anything because they didn't put Wang Xian in their eyes. What ability did a freshman have? Good. Arrogant fellow, I don't know how you survived until today. But let me tell you, don't let us meet you in the wild in the future. When Captain Tornado saw the people around him looking at him, he instantly felt dispirited. He glared at Wang Xian and said, "Haha, this Wang Xian has angered Tornado and the rest again. He's totally courting death." "Exactly. I really wonder how he survived until today. I wonder how this kid got in here. Who invited him so recklessly? Could it be that he came in by himself?" When the surrounding students saw Wang Xian's appearance, they felt extremely arrogant. All of them shook their heads and said with smiles on their faces, "So what if we met in the wild?" At this moment, a girl suddenly came over. Everyone was slightly taken aback. Upon hearing the familiar voice, they quickly looked towards the entrance. About 20 girls walked over. The leader was a blonde beauty who was taller than most of the boys present. Her figure and height made many of the boys feel ashamed. The one who spoke was a burly girl beside her. Captain Zhang, Deputy Captain Xiao. The captain of the Tornado Mercenary Group was stunned for a moment before he greeted Wang Xian with a smile. If I were to meet this kid in the wild, I guarantee that he will regret coming to this world. HMPH. What an arrogant and reckless fellow. The captain of the Tornado Mercenary Group said with a smile on his face. His gaze landed on Wang Xian and was filled with coldness. The faces of the girls in the Amethyst Mercenary Group darkened immediately when they heard his words, especially Vice Captain Xiao, who walked straight towards Captain Tornado with a frosty expression. Currently, Captain Tornado had yet to figure out the current situation. He only knew that Wang Xian had provoked the Amethyst Mercenary Group, but he didn't know what happened on the Thunder Island. When he saw Vice Captain Xiao walking over, he still had a smile on his face. Bam! However, his expression quickly turned stiff because Deputy Captain Zhao's fist landed heavily on his face. He didn't show any mercy. The body of the captain of the Tornado Mercenary Group flew backward heavily. A few of his teeth flew out. In the future, as long as the Amethyst Mercenary Group lets us see you in the wild, we will make you regret coming to this world. Deputy Chief Xiao said to the Tornado Mercenary Group with a cold expression. He was stunned. Everyone around him looked at this scene in astonishment. Why did Deputy Chief Xiao suddenly hit Chief Tornado and say such words? What's going on? Doesn't the Amethyst Mercenary Group have a feud with that Wang Xian? Why would they speak up for him? Deputy Chief Xiao, who had a stunned expression on his face, was stunned. Even Chief Tornado, who was knocked down on the ground, was stunned. The members of the Tornado Mercenary Group looked on at a loss. Student Wang, leave their Tornado Mercenary Group to us. We will definitely let them know the price for offending you. Vice Captain Xiao glanced at the Tornado Mercenary Group coldly. He turned around and said to Wang Xian, Student Wang Xian, thank you for the incident on the Thunder Island. Zhang Yitian walked over as well. He sized up Wang Xian curiously and said with a smile on his face, What exactly is going on? A young man mumbled in a low voice as he looked at Wang Xian in disbelief. The deputy captain of the Amethyst Mercenary Group took action personally to vent his anger for the new student. Captain Zhang Yitian walked over with a smile on his face again and spoke politely. Didn't this guy have a grudge against Amethyst? Why now? Wang Xian looked at the tall and beautiful lady who was walking over with a hint of surprise in his eyes. He nodded his head faintly. Zhang Yitian smiled and looked at the members of the Tornado Mercenary Group around him. The smile on his face disappeared and he shouted coldly, Scram! Scram! When they heard the captain of the Amethyst Mercenary Group telling them to scram, the members of the Tornado Mercenary Group trembled. Leader Zhang, I'm sorry. Let's scram. We'll scram immediately. The vice leader of Tornado said loudly and walked to the side with an extremely embarrassed expression. The people around swallowed a mouthful of saliva and looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with shock. Why did that freshman Wang Xian have such a good relationship with the Amethyst Mercenary Group? Peng Peng. Duan Qingwen stood up with a trembling body. He staggered and bumped into the chair with a look of horror on his face. He had joined the Tornado Mercenary Group and thought that he had a backer. However, he didn't expect that he would actually be listed in the Amethyst Mercenary Group. Would he take revenge on him? Thinking of this, his body almost fell to the ground again. Compared to the Amethyst Mercenary Group, the Tornado Mercenary Group was on a completely different level. In the future, he would be in deep trouble. Chapter 999. The young master's mercenary group had arrived. What's going on? The Amethyst mercenary group actually beat up the captain of Tornado for the sake of that freshman. I don't know, but now it seems that Wang Xian has hooked up with the Amethyst mercenary group. Captain Zhang seemed to have mentioned that Wang Xian had helped them on the Thunder Island. Now that the Amethyst mercenary group is actually protecting Wang Xian, doesn't that mean that they are going to be enemies with the young master's mercenary group? This is complicated. Who would have thought that the brat has such a good relationship with the Amethyst mercenary group? I wonder what the young master's mercenary group will do. After sweeping a glance at everyone around him, Deputy Chief Xiao sat down. The group of people from the mercenary group immediately returned to their seats. They looked over from time to time and discussed in low voices. With the Amethyst mercenary group around, they didn't dare to discuss loudly for fear of offending the Amethyst mercenary group. Everyone looked at the Tornado mercenary group with a hint of sympathy in their eyes. Who would have thought that the freshmen would be protected by the Amethyst mercenary group in such a manner? Baba. Beside them, the leader of the Tornado mercenary group, who was lying on the ground, spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. He stood up with an embarrassed expression. He looked at Wang Xian, who was chatting with Zhang Yi. His expression was as though he had eaten a dead rat. Leader, what should we do now? A young man asked with fear in his eyes. Earlier on, Amethyst said that she would teach them a lesson in the wild. However, it was definitely not a joke. If they met each other outside, they would definitely be in trouble. Even if there were 10 tornadoes, they would not be a match for one Amethyst. Let's go. The expression of the leader of the tornadoes kept changing. He gritted his teeth, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and walked out. Bang! Are you courting death? Watch out. Just as they reached the entrance, they almost bumped into a group of people. A youth wearing a black hat coldly berated them. Beside the youth wearing the hat was a youth with a somewhat demonic appearance. The youth's face was extremely fair. His body also gave off an enchanting feeling. His pair of triangular eyes flickered with a vicious luster. I'm sorry, Commander Snake. We were careless. Commander Tornado's expression changed slightly when he saw the group of people in front of him. He hurriedly lowered his head and said, That bewitching youth didn't say anything and directly walked inside. Commander Tornado's expression changed when he saw the group of people from his young master's mercenary group enter. His eyes flickered. Commander, let's go. A young man beside him whispered, Let's go back. Captain Tornado gritted his teeth and turned around. Captain? The members of the Tornado mercenary group looked at him in astonishment. Captain Tornado didn't take a deep breath. When he saw the young master's mercenary group enter and sit down, he walked straight over. In the banquet hall, when everyone saw the arrival of the young master's mercenary group, they also looked toward Wang Xian's position, intentionally or unintentionally. The Amethyst mercenary group is here. Xia Homing and the rest are not here yet. The group of young Master Wang, Xian's mercenary group, sat on the empty seats in the middle. The young man wearing a hat scanned the surroundings and said calmly, If we work together for the mission in the Dragon Wind region this time, there should be a lot of rewards. The devilish young man fiddled with the ring in his hand and said calmly, Captain Snake. At this moment, the captain of the Tornado mercenary group and a group of members walked over and greeted respectfully. The devilish young man took a sip of his wine and looked at them expressionlessly. Captain Snake, the new Wang Xian, is over there. The captain of the Tornado mercenary group saw the devilish young man's expression and pointed to the side as he spoke. The devilish young man's eyes suddenly narrowed when he heard his words. A murderous and emotionless glint flashed across his eyes as he stood up immediately. Wang Xian. He's here. The rest of the young master's mercenary group raised their eyebrows and stood up with cold eyes. Captain Snake, that Wang Xian has a very good relationship with the Amethyst mercenary group. I was punched by Vice Captain Xiao just now. Captain Tornado said hurriedly. Oh! The devilish young man revealed a surprised expression. He looked at the members of the Amethyst mercenary group. When his gaze landed on Wang Xian, he chuckled and walked over. Captain Snake has gone over. It must be because of that Wang Xian. I wonder if there will be a conflict. When the group of people saw the young master's mercenary group walking over, they looked over. Wang Xian was chatting with the tall and beautiful lady beside him. He saw a group of people walking over with an unfriendly expression. When he saw the badges on their chests, Wang Xian understood. Leader, the people from the young master's mercenary group are here. Let's do it. Zhang Yitian's expression didn't change. He looked at Wang Xian and said, Leader Wang, leave the matter to us later. The Amethyst mercenary group knew Wang Xian's strength. He was an extraordinary level 7 powerhouse. The young master's mercenary group was no match for him alone. However, they also knew that if they were to fight to the death, Wang Xian was still no match for them. Their background was too strong. Wang Xian nodded with a smile and poured himself a glass of wine. Captain Zhang. The group of people from the young master's mercenary group walked over. The devilish young man looked at Wang Xian and landed his gaze on Zhang Yitian. He shouted with a smile, Captain Snake, let me introduce you. This is our friend from the Amethyst mercenary group, Wang Xian. Zhang Yitian nodded and directly expressed his relationship with Wang Xian. His meaning was self-evident. I'm also here to check on this student Wang Xian. I wonder if he has 3 heads and 6 arms and dares to go against our young master's mercenary group. The corner of the devilish young man's mouth curled up slightly as he stared at Wang Xian. Student Wang is a friend of our Amethyst mercenary group. If you have any grudges, please give me, Zhang Yitian, some face and let it go. Zhang Yitian stood up directly, picked up the wine cup on the seat, looked at him and said, Captain Zhang, you should know that no one can live well after losing the face of our young master's mercenary group. The devilish young man didn't move. He stared at Wang Xian with a faint smile on his face. Upon hearing his words, Wang Xian smiled instead. He raised the wine glass in his hand and gestured at him before taking a sip with a smile. Could it be that the young master's mercenary group doesn't even give him face? Zhang Yitian looked at him and said without showing any signs of weakness, the ranking of the Amethyst mercenary group in the academy was higher than that of the young master's mercenary group. In terms of background, Zhang Yitian was not afraid of the leader of the young master's mercenary group. Naturally, he would not show any signs of fear. This is not a matter of not giving face to Leader Zhang. He must die. The devilish young man said calmly, no one can stop him. Whoever dares to stop him is the enemy of our young master's mercenary group. It seems that the young master's mercenary group is going to become the enemy of our Amethyst mercenary group. Zhang Yitian heard his words and stared at him expressionlessly as he said, they were tit for tat and didn't give in at all. Chapter 1000 is going to be your enemy. Hiss! The atmosphere in the banquet turned heavy. The surrounding students took in a breath of cold air when they saw the scene. The Amethyst mercenary group was actually willing to become enemies with young master's mercenary group for the sake of that freshman. When the devilish youth heard Zhang Yitian's words, the expression on his face changed slightly and sank. Yunhan Hai and a few members of my young master's mercenary group are still missing because of him. My young master's mercenary group will not let him off. Otherwise, others will think that we are easy to bully. The devilish youth stared at Zhang Yitian and said in a deep voice, Yunhan Hai's whereabouts are still unknown. You can't blame others. Zhang Yitian frowned slightly and said, this is your own matter. Don't blame others. I, Snake Mark, have promised Master Yin that no matter if Yun Han Hai is dead or alive, this kid will die. Snake Mark's body slowly emitted a faint killing intent, and his voice became cold. Zhang Etienne's expression slightly changed when he heard this. Snake Mark picked up a glass of wine on the table. He slowly shook his head. Yun Han Hai is not only the vice leader of my young master's mercenary group, but also the most outstanding disciple of the Yun family. This matter is not something that you, Zhang Etienne, can stop. Zhang Etienne's expression kept changing. The faces of the girls from the Amethyst mercenary group around him were also a little embarrassed. The Yun family was not something that their academy's mercenary group could compare to. That was a very powerful family in the entire Eastern Sea City. If they really vented their anger on Wang Xian because of the incident with Yun Han Hai, they would not be able to do anything about it. What happened at the banquet? I don't know. Why does it seem like the young master's mercenary group and the Amethyst mercenary group are in a standoff? Could it be that Snake Mark is causing trouble? At this moment, more than 30 people walked into the banquet. The young man in the middle looked ordinary. There was an inch-long scar on his face. The scar was very obvious. It was obvious that he had been injured not too long ago. The group of people walked over with curious expressions. Their gazes swept over and they smiled. Come, let's watch a show. The scar-faced youth crossed his arms and looked at them with curious expressions. When the surrounding students saw them arrive, their faces revealed respectful expressions. Leader, senior, it's that senior, it's him. Suddenly, the youth beside him hurriedly pulled the scar-faced youth's arm and said with an excited expression, What senior? The scar-faced youth glared at the youth beside him and slightly raised his head to glance at him. However, it was this glance that caused his expression to stiffen. He couldn't help but widen his eyes and use his hand to wipe his face. It's him, it's really him. The scarred youth muttered and couldn't help but touch the scar on his face. This was the scar left behind 5 days ago in the wilderness. At that time, he and the members of the mercenary group were preparing to hunt the cloud clams, but they didn't expect that things would go beyond their expectations. The entire aerial beast mercenary group had almost been wiped out. If it wasn't for the sudden appearance of that young expert who wiped out the group of extraordinary rank 6 cloud clams with a wave of his arm, they would have died long ago. What he didn't expect was to meet his savior and that senior here. However, this senior seemed to be. His expression changed as his eyes flickered. The group of young men around him also stared at Wang Xian with their eyes wide open. Even if it's not something that our financial mercenary group can stop, we still have to give it a try. Zhang Etienne's face darkened as he spoke to Snake Mark. All right. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being ruthless. Let me state my words here today. Whoever dares to protect this kid will be the enemy of my young master's mercenary group. Once they become enemies, I, Snake Mark, will make them pay a heavy price. Snake Mark pointed at Wang Xian and glared at Zhang Etienne with a face full of killing intent. When the surrounding members saw that Snake Mark was completely enraged, they were terrified. A furious Snake Mark was capable of doing anything. With the rich financial resources of the young master's mercenary group, he might hire assassins to attack directly in the city. When the scarred young man saw Snake Mark pointing his finger at Wang Xian, his expression changed instantly as he stared at him gloomily. Pay a heavy price? I would like to see how you will pay a heavy price for becoming your enemy. The scarred youth pushed aside the bodies of the youths in front of him and walked straight inside. Behind him, a group of members of the Void Beast Mercenary Group followed behind, their gazes fixed on the members of Young Master's mercenary group. Oh, what's going on? FUCK, the Void Beast Mercenary Group, is here. What is Commander Xia Homing trying to do? When the surrounding people saw the Void Beast Mercenary Group suddenly joining in, they felt a little dizzy. The Void Beast mercenary group was ranked second in the Demon Hunter College, and its strength was even stronger than Amethyst. Its leader, Xia Homing, was the son of a diamond-ranked mercenary group leader in EC City. His strength was formidable, and his talent was terrifying. Xia Homing was a very loyal person, and he had a group of brothers following him. However, why did the Void Beast mercenary group join in? Could it be that they wanted a hero to support a beauty? If you want to touch my ex, big brother, you have to go through me first. Why? Does your young master's mercenary group want to be enemies with us Void Beasts as well? Xia Homing walked towards Wang Xian and smiled at him. He turned around and stared at Snake Trace as he asked coldly, "You?" Snake Trace's expression changed drastically when he saw Xia Homing, who suddenly appeared. He growled in a low voice, "Xia Homing, this matter has nothing to do with you." "How could it have nothing to do with me? The matter of my big brother is my matter. Whoever dares to touch him will become our Void Beast mercenary group's enemy." "That's right. Whoever dares to touch our big brother will become our enemy." Behind him, a few members of the Void Beast mercenary group shouted angrily. They were full of loyalty. Oh my God, why did the Void Beast mercenary group step out to help that freshman? Big brother? How does Xia Homing address a freshman as big brother? Could he be a relative? The Amethyst mercenary group was willing to make enemies with young master's mercenary group for his sake, and now the Void Beast mercenary group is also doing the same. The Academy's second and third ranked mercenary group is making a move at the same time. Who else would dare to provoke him? Snake Mark's devilish white face began to change color, and his eyes were filled with fury. An Amethyst mercenary group had already made him feel extremely troubled. Now, another Void Beast mercenary group had appeared. What was the relationship between them and this brat? How could he make the massive amount mercenary group not hesitate to make an enemy out of them? Zhang Etienne and the group of Amethyst mercenary group girls looked at Xia Homing in astonishment. Why did he also stand up for Wang Xian? Could it be that they knew each other before? There was a high possibility. The group of girls thought to themselves and smiled. They raised their heads and stared at the group of people from the young master's mercenary group with a smile. Wang Xian watched this scene with an indifferent expression. When he saw the group of people who suddenly appeared, he was a little puzzled. Who are they? They didn't seem to know each other. Chapter 1001. People were killed by me. The expressions of the young master's mercenary group changed drastically. Snake Scar stared at the members of the Void Beast mercenary group and the Amethyst mercenary group with a gloomy expression. If these two mercenary groups really wanted to become enemies with them and protect that new student, he really didn't dare to make a move. The Amethyst and Void Beast strength was enough to make their young master's mercenary group unable to move an inch. But in front of so many people, if they let that kid go, wouldn't it be a huge humiliation in the future? The surrounding Demon Hunters Academy looked at this scene with their mouths agape. They never would have thought that a freshman would actually be able to make the two large mercenary groups of the Academy act to protect him, with the Amethyst and Void Beast around who would dare to bully him. Good. Zhang Etienne, Xia Homing, you are clearly making our young master's mercenary group embarrassed, right? Today's matter, I, Snake Mark, will remember it. Snake Mark's face was gloomy as he glared at them with a pair of triangular eyes. This made Zhang Etienne and Xia Homing smile in disdain. Brat, just you wait. Don't think that just because you have the protection of the Amethyst mercenary group and the Void Beast mercenary group, I can't do anything to you. Snake Mark saw their expressions and felt even more embarrassed. He stared at Wang Xian and growled. Hee, a bunch of trash. I would like to know what you guys have up your sleeves. Wang Xian, who had been silent all this while, heard what he said and said in a slightly mocking tone, "You." He didn't expect that he would dare to mock him. His expression changed drastically as he stared at Wang Xian. "Just you wait. I, Snake Hen, will not be human until I kill you." A ferocious growl was heard, causing the hearts of the people around them to turn cold. They looked at Wang Xian with a strange expression. "You said that you were mocking Snake Mark at this moment and making him lose face. Aren't you going to fight to the death with him?" Now that the Amethyst and Void Beast had made a move, could it be that he would be with them every day? Isn't he courting death on purpose? That's right, he is totally provoking Snake Mark. No matter what, Snake Mark is a very famous figure in the Demon Hunters Academy and even the EC City. It's too unwise. If he doesn't say such words of provocation, Snake Mark might really not dare to touch him in the future. But now, if Snake Mark doesn't take revenge in the future, he will become the laughingstock of many people. The surrounding students looked at Wang Xian, who didn't seem to care, and shook their heads slowly. If he didn't seek death, he wouldn't die. Snake Mark stared at Wang Xian with a face full of killing intent. He, Snake Mark, had never suffered such humiliation before. After being provoked by a freshman, even if he had 2 large mercenary groups behind him, he wouldn't let it go. Everyone wanted a face. When the people from Amethyst Mercenary Group and Void Beast Mercenary Group saw Wang Xian's provocation, they smiled slightly. They knew Wang Xian's strength. So what if he provoked a young master's mercenary group? The bunch of fellows who came to kill me the last time are already dead. Welcome to send yourselves to your deaths. However, Wang Xian opened his mouth and said something that caused the entire banquet to fall into dead silence. When he finished his sentence with a smile on his face, everyone's breathing stopped. Even the members of the Amethyst Mercenary Group and the Void Beast Mercenary Group stared at Wang Xian with their eyes wide open in shock. "What? Yun Han Hai was killed by you." A ray of light shot out from Snake Scar's eyes as he glared at Wang Xian and roared loudly. Everyone around him was dumbfounded. This? What was this Wang Xian doing? Was he courting death? He actually said that Yun Han Hai and the rest were killed by him. Regardless of whether this matter was true or false, this Wang Xian was definitely doomed. The death of Yun Han Hai not only involved the young master's mercenary group, but also the Yun family. Once the Yun family found out that the future successor of the Yun family was killed by a student, they would definitely take revenge crazily. So what if I killed them? Wang Xian smiled faintly and swept his gaze across the young master's mercenary group. "I just killed a bunch of trash." "You... all right." Snake Scar didn't know what to say at this moment. He extended his finger and pointed at him. His arm was trembling, slightly. "You're dead. You're dead." Wang Xian smiled faintly at the side and didn't seem to mind. "You've said this sentence many times already. You'll know the consequences very soon." Snake Mark's eyes were a little red. He shouted coldly and walked out with a face full of anger. "Zhang Yitian, Xia Homing, this matter is not something that you guys can participate in anymore. Don't dig your own grave." Snake Mark's voice was heard, causing the young master's mercenary group and the Void Beast mercenary group to show an embarrassed look. They looked at Wang Xian with a helpless look in their eyes. "Why did you say that you killed Yun Han Hai and his men? They died in the wilderness." Without evidence, the young master's mercenary group wouldn't dare to take revenge on the Amethyst and Void Beast mercenary groups. Now he directly said that he was the one who killed Yun Han Hai and his men. Then, this matter wasn't something that they could withstand. "Captain Wang, you..." Zhang Yitian opened his mouth and said helplessly as he looked at Wang Xian. He really didn't know what to say after that. They knew that Wang Xian was very strong, but could he compete with the power behind the young master's mercenary group? Could he compete with the Yun family? Big, Big brother, I think you should stay in Donghai City for the time being. Or go to another town. Xia Homing hesitated for a moment before he said to him. Wang Xian didn't take Snake Scar and the rest to heart. He looked at the group of people who had suddenly appeared, and a hint of doubt flashed across his eyes. Thank you for your help earlier. However, do I know you all? When the students around heard Wang Xian's words, the corners of their mouths couldn't help but twitch as they stared at him with widened eyes. The group of girls from the Amethyst mercenary group also looked over in astonishment. What? They didn't know each other. Xia Homing was also slightly taken aback. He didn't expect that the other party had saved them 2 days ago. They had no idea who they had saved and didn't even remember them. This made him speechless. It turned out that the other party didn't care about them at all that day. Big brother, 5 days ago in the thunderstorm area. Oh, I got it. The group of people from Cloud Clam? Wang Xian was enlightened and interrupted him. Yes. I really have to thank you for that day, big brother. Otherwise, we might not have been able to return. Xia Homing nodded his head quickly and said gratefully, It was nothing. Wang Xian shook his head lightly. Captain Xia, Captain Wang, let's sit down and talk. Zhang Etienne took a look at his surroundings, and the students quickly returned to their seats. Only the members of the Tornado Mercenary Group walked out with a drastic change in expression. The incident just now had a huge impact on him. But this time, even if that kid has 3 heads and 6 arms, he will still be finished. The captain of the Tornado Mercenary Group took a deep breath and thought to himself with a solemn face. Chapter 1002, Diamond Level Mission. May I know what kind of mission leader Zhang is referring to when he invited me over? The Amethyst Mercenary Group and the Harp Mercenary Group sat down. All of them looked at Wang Xian and didn't know what to say for a moment. They really didn't know how to reply to Wang Xian, who was so powerful and unpredictable. They felt a little awkward. Wang Xian looked at them with a smile and asked directly. Wang Xian had a good impression of the girls in the Amethyst Mercenary Group. This seemingly ordinary Xia Homing dared to speak directly and made an enemy out of the young master's mercenary group. Their actions also made Wang Xian have a good impression of him. Mission. Xia Homing took a look at Zhang Etienne and asked, The mission in the Dragon Wind region. Yes. Zhang Etienne nodded and looked at Wang Xian. Commander Wang, the main purpose of this gathering is to discuss the mission of the demon beasts in the Dragon Wind region. As she spoke, she took out a document and handed it to Wang Xian. There is a race of demon beasts in the Dragon Wind region, the Wind-Winged Savage Fish. This is a very powerful race. The demon beasts of this race are bloodthirsty by nature. For years ago, they controlled other ferocious beasts and started a monster siege in Donghai City. At that time, it was fortunate that the city lord of the East Sea City and the other experts discovered it in time. They moved out together and killed all the experts of the wind-winged savage fish. As Zhang Etienne spoke, Wang Xian revealed a curious expression on his face. Is the mission related to this wind-winged savage fish? Wang Xian asked curiously. He had only seen demon beasts once in the wilderness when he came to the extraordinary mainland. They were cunning and intelligent. They were much more difficult to deal with than ferocious beasts. A demon beast race. Just like humans, they have their own territory and their own nest. The same goes for the wind-winged savage fish demon beasts. The Demon Hunters Academy has a file on the wind-winged savage fish. Back then, after the lords of the Eastern Sea City killed the top-tier demon beasts of the wind-winged savage fish race, they sent people to the nest of the wind-winged savage fish. However, they didn't find anything there, not even a single wind-winged savage fish. Later, a mercenary group went to the territory of the wind-winged savage fish with the hope of getting lucky, but they didn't come back. According to some news in the past few years, some scholars speculated that the demon beast race of the wind-winged savage fish still existed. but there were no more powerful, wind-winged savage fish there. Once an expert went to their nest, they would immediately run away, and if they were weak, they would be killed by the wind-winged savage fish. In order to prevent this cunning demonic beast race from harming Donghai City when they grow up, the mercenary group has always had a 1-star diamond mission to eliminate the wind-winged savage fish. Zhang Yuntian continued to speak to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded slowly. Looking at the information on the wind-winged savage fish, he asked in puzzlement, "Is this mission not too different from the other missions?" Commander Wang, the wind-winged savage fish used to be a very powerful demonic beast race. After the top-tier demonic beasts were killed, the remaining ones were all weak. However, all the treasures in the demonic beast race are in the hands of these weak demonic beasts. As Zhang Yitian spoke, his eyes lit up. A race with 4 to 5 extraordinary level 9 demonic beasts must have extremely rich treasures. If we can exterminate the wind-winged savage fish race, not only will we be able to complete the mission, but we will also be able to obtain a huge treasure. This mission is not something that other missions can compare to. Xia Homing's eyes lit up as he said, the mission in the Dragonwind region was a mission that all the mercenary groups wanted to complete. The treasure trove of a top-tier demonic beast clan was even richer than that of a top-tier clan in Donghai City. Is that so? Wang Xian's heart was moved. Treasure trove. If he could really obtain a treasure trove, then the members of the Dragon Palace and his abilities would be greatly enhanced. Yes, the entire East Sea City knows about this mission, but it's very difficult. Once the powerful mercenary groups pass by, the crafty wind-winged savage fish will quickly escape, and the weak mercenary groups will be destroyed by them. This is also because the level of the demon beasts isn't high, and the mission is diamond level. After some students of our Demon Hunter College checked the information, they found that once an expert above rank 7 extraordinary realm appeared on this mission, the other party would run away, and anyone below rank 7 extraordinary realm would be killed. We are preparing to team up with some powerful mercenary groups from the Academy and ask them to find some experts to head to the territory of the wind-winged savage fish together. Zhang Yuntian said to Wang Xian, "Form a team to complete the mission together." Wang Xian looked at them and asked curiously, "It's not a team. We can also split up and act independently. If we split up, we can also split up the strength of the wind-winged savage fish and reduce the danger. As for who can obtain the treasure, it will depend on our strength and luck." Zhang Yitian shook his head. "When do we set off?" Wang Xian pondered for a moment and asked directly, "Commander Wang, do you agree to do this mission with us?" Zhang Yitian asked in pleasant surprise. Although they didn't know Wang Xian's strength, he should be at level 7 of the supernatural realm. They were in need of such an expert. "Of course we'll go." Wang Xian nodded his head. "Captain Zhang, big brother, why don't we go together? This way, we can take care of each other and distribute the treasures according to our respective strengths?" Xia Homing suggested from the side. Zhang Yitian looked at him and then at Wang Xian. "It's up to you guys to decide. I don't care." Wang Xian said to Zhang Yitian. This matter was invited by the Amethyst mercenary group. It wasn't appropriate for him to make his own decision. It would be much more convenient to go with them. At the very least, he didn't need to look through a lot of information. It would be much more convenient to know from them. "Sure, Commander Xiaoho. Please send someone to ask the other mercenary groups if they want to go to the territory of the wind-winged, savage, fish demon beasts. However, after they get there, they have to act on their own." Zhang Yitian nodded and said to Xia Homing, "All right, I'll go and ask them immediately." Xia Homing nodded. He looked at Wang Xian and hesitated for a moment. "Brother, are you sure you want to leave the city? Where is the Yun family?" "Don't worry. We have agreed on a location outside the city. When the time comes, I'll look for you guys. They won't notice me." Wang Xian smiled. He told the young master's mercenary group that it was Wang Xian who intentionally said that Yun Han Hai and the rest were killed by him. Since this young master's mercenary group wanted to kill him, he would let them come over. Coincidentally, he was currently in dire need of spirit stones. If they came to kill him, they would be able to send him a lot of spirit stones. As for the Yun family, which had a transcendent level 9 status, it was also part of his plan. The Yun family was one of the top families in EC City. Now that the dragon spike had arrived, it was only natural for them to become famous. He would use the Yun family to increase the reputation of the dragon spike. Chapter 1003 Sensational Demon Hunters Academy. The Void Beast Mercenary Group and Amethyst Mercenary Group, the 2 second and 3rd ranked mercenary groups of the Demon Hunters Academy, came out to protect him. They could make sure that the young master mercenary group wouldn't dare to offend him in the future. However, Wang Xian still said that Yun Han Hai was killed by him in the end. This was the reason. This time, it wasn't because he was arrogant. It was because he had thought it through carefully. Commander Wang, we will set off directly at noon tomorrow. When the time comes, we will contact each other through the communication stone plate. Please be careful. When they walked out of the Demon Hunter Manor, Zhang Yitian and Xia Homing reminded Wang Xian. Don't worry. Wang Xian smiled and nodded. Then he walked towards their residence. Zhang Yitian, Xia Homing, and the rest of the 2 mercenary groups looked at Wang Xian's back with sparkling eyes. Leader Zhu Ho, how did you know Leader Wang? Seeing the figure disappear, Zhang Yitian looked at Xia Homing and asked curiously. He saved the life of our Void Beast mercenary group. If it wasn't for him, I would have died. Xia Homing smiled and looked at the girls beside him. What about you guys? He saved more than 10 of us. Deputy Commander Xiao chimed in from the side. His strength is really abnormal. He might be able to succeed in this mission. However, as Xia Homing spoke, he recalled that he had personally said that he had killed Yun Han Hai and the rest. A hesitant look appeared on his face. He shouldn't. Zhang Yitian and the rest of the girls frowned slightly. A contemplative look appeared on their faces. They were very surprised when Wang Xian said that he had killed Yun Han Hai and the rest. Could it be that this Wang Xian was really courting death? I hope he has his own thoughts. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for us to help him. Xia Homing said helplessly. He shook his head and bade farewell to Zhang Yitian before leaving. Let's go too. Zhang Yitian said to the group of girls behind him. His tall and swaying body walked towards the academy. Is it really that Wang Xian who killed Haier? At this moment, in a manor in the central area of Donghai City, a middle-aged man shouted with a face full of killing intent. Beside him, a table was completely shattered. His eyes were blood-red, causing everyone in the hall to lower their heads and not dare to look into his eyes. Snake Scar, who was standing in front of the middle-aged man, faced the middle-aged man. His face was slightly pale as he said, "It's Uncle." He admitted it himself today. Many people present heard it. A new student of the Demon Hunters Academy has the ability to kill me higher. The middle-aged man's face was a little ferocious. He clenched his fists tightly, and his whole body was exuding a cold, murderous aura. Whether it's him or not, he must die. All his relatives must die. Uncle, I, Snake Mark, will avenge Brother Yin. No matter how big the price is, I will kill that kid. Snake Mark lowered his head and said with a gloomy face, "Get out." The middle-aged man ignored Snake Mark and said coldly, "Yes, Uncle." Snake Mark was slightly stunned and walked out with a gloomy face. "Wang Xian, you are dead meat." Snake Mark squinted his eyes, and a sinister light flashed. "Leader." Just as Snake Mark walked out of the Yun family, a group of young masters' mercenary group members walked over. "Leader, According to the information we received, the Sky Beast and Amethyst will head to the Windwing Rampant Fish's territory in the Dragon Wind region tomorrow to prepare for the Diamond-level mission. A young man carefully looked at the gloomy Snake Mark and said, "Yes." Snake Mark coldly nodded. "We suspect that kid might go." The youth continued, "He still dares to leave the city." Snake Mark's eyes revealed a vicious light, causing the youth to be startled. "Send someone to personally watch that guy." Snake Mark's expression darkened as he hesitated. "Commander, the Amethyst and Void Beast mercenary group is protecting him now." A youth said hesitantly, "If anyone dares to protect him, the Yun family will exterminate them without US taking action." Snake Mark thought of the Amethyst and the Void Beast. He snorted coldly and walked straight to the front. The young men from the Young Masters mercenary group beside him were slightly stunned and immediately followed behind. At this moment, on the Demon Hunters Academy's forum, the news of Wang Xian killing Yun Hanhai and the rest had spread like wildfire. The incident at the banquet today had also been exposed. When the group of young men from the Demon Hunters Academy found out about this news, they were all shocked. Why would the Amethyst mercenary group and the Void Beast mercenary group protect that Wang Xian? Especially the Amethyst mercenary group. Don't they have a grudge against Wang Xian? Oh my God, is this Wang Xian reckless? He actually said that he killed Yun Hanhai and the rest. Now, even the Amethyst and Void Beasts can't save him. The Yun family will definitely make a move. Even if this kid has 10 lives, it's still not enough for him to die. This is really unexpected. If he didn't say that he killed Yun Hanhai and the rest, no one would dare to provoke him in the Demon Hunters Academy in the future. Now he actually said it out stupidly. With his strength, how could he kill Yun Hanhai and the rest of the powerhouses? Now that he has said that, regardless of whether he killed them or not, the Yun family will get rid of him. Everyone in the academy was dumbfounded. This was the first time they had seen such a suicidal person. Even the instructors of the academy knew about this matter. All of them frowned and shook their heads slowly. Anyone would have to pay a heavy price for killing the future heir of the Yun family in Donghai City. Wang Xian did not pay attention to the matter in the academy's forum. Instead, he looked at the information that Zhang Yitian had given him. "I hope I can get a good harvest this time." Wang Xian held the lightning strike wood in his hand as he thought to himself. The next morning, Wang Xian brought Ao Jian and the rest out of the city. Sensing the gazes behind him, he smiled. After leaving the city, Wang Xian easily shook them off. Where are they? 5 minutes later, a middle-aged man scanned the surroundings with a sullen face. He took out his communication stone plate and sent a message with an embarrassed expression. "They're here." At the edge of the ocean, which was 30 kilometers away from the East Gate, a group of people stood by the seaside. Their eyes were fixed on Wang Xian and the rest who were flying towards them. "They're half an hour late." In the middle of the Amethyst mercenary group, a woman beside the tall Zhang Yuntian said with slight dissatisfaction. The woman's height was comparable to Zhang Yishan's. However, her figure was even more fiery than Zhang Yishan's. Her curvy figure could almost make people explode on the spot. If it wasn't for the fact that there was no plastic surgery on the Transcendence continent, almost everyone would think that she had such a fiery figure after plastic surgery. The woman's appearance was somewhat similar to Zhang Yishan's, but it was much more familiar. "And he is the benefactor of our mercenary group. He is very strong. Don't say anything later." Zhang Yishan looked at the woman and reminded her, "A kid actually has such strength. I want to see what kind of bloodline he has." The woman crossed her arms and felt like she was holding a huge ball. She looked over curiously. Chapter 1004. Listen to my command. Beside the Amethyst mercenary group, there was an old man standing next to Xiahoming. "Elder Zeng, this is our savior. If it wasn't for him last time, we would have died long ago." Xiahoming introduced to the old man beside him. Oh, I've never heard of such a monstrous student in the Demon Hunters Academy. The old man looked curiously at the group of people flying towards them. New student, his strength is really abnormal. Back then, he killed more than a dozen cloud clams that were at Transcendent Level 6 in one move. Xia Homing said with a face full of admiration. He's so strong and so young. I wonder which bloodline family's disciple he is from. The old man said slowly. Regardless of whether it was the woman with an explosive figure or the old man, they all believed that Wang Xian had a powerful bloodline. Otherwise, it was impossible for an ordinary person to reach Transcendent Level 7 at this age when they were cultivating. There was no such monster in the entire continent. It was highly possible for him to have a powerful bloodline. The prince of the royal family of the Draconid Empire on the continent had the strength of a Transcendent Level 7 or 8 at such a young age. From their point of view, Wang Xian must have a powerful bloodline. I hope he has a powerful background. Otherwise, the Yun family will take revenge. Xia Homing sighed slightly. I'm sorry, everyone, I'm late. Wang Xian looked at the group of people and said apologetically as he landed on the ground. He swept his gaze across the group of people and was slightly surprised. There were two extraordinary Level 7 powerhouses, a lady with a terrifying figure and an old man. His eyes subconsciously paused on the lady with a better figure. The figure of this lady reminded him of the exaggerated figures of the girls in the anime. This was too explosive. I didn't see any embarrassment on your face. The lady saw Wang Xian's expression and said coldly, Shall we set off now? Wang Xian smiled and said to Zhang Yitian, Xia, and Homing, Let's go, Captain Wang. This is my aunt, Zhang Fengying. This is Elder Zhang. For this mission, let's go together. Zhang Yitian tugged at his aunt's clothes and introduced her to Wang Xian. Hello, my name is Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded. Zhang Fengying sized up Wang Xian as a green light flashed in her eyes. Transcendent Level 5. There's also a group of Transcendent Level 5 people behind him? Zhang Fengying narrowed her eyes slightly and said to Zhang Yitian, No, that's impossible. Leader Wang's strength. Zhang Yitian was a little stunned. However, when he saw the green light in his aunt's eyes, he was stunned again. Aunt, how can Leader Wang's strength be at Transcendent Level 5? When he was seriously injured, he could kill 4 to 5 experts at Transcendent Level 6 with a single move. Deputy Commander Shao was slightly taken aback and said in disbelief, Call me sistering, don't call me old. Zhang Fengying heard her words and waved her hand. This made Deputy Commander Shao slightly embarrassed. This sistering, Commander Wang killed more than a dozen ferocious beasts at Transcendent Level 6 with a single move back then. How can he be at Transcendent Level 5? Xia Homing shook his head in disbelief. Looks like your bloodline is better at concealing your strength. Zhang Fengying glanced at Wang Xian with interest. This made him slightly stunned. He felt that this woman with an extremely good figure was a little narcissistic. The Amethyst mercenary group had 20 members this time. The weakest among them was at Level 5, and there were also 5 at Level 6. The strength of the Void Beast mercenary group was similar to that of the Amethyst mercenary group. The same strength should be used to distribute treasures. The mission of the Wind Wings Savage Fish Demon Beast was an official mission of East Sea City. It was not a special mission of the Demon Hunter Academy. This mission allowed 10 mercenary groups to complete it together. Let's go. When the time comes, everyone listen to my orders. Zhang Fengying looked around like a big sister and said to everyone, With Miss Zhang's eye technique, we will naturally listen to your orders. Elder Zhang, who was at Transcendent Level 7, cupped his hands at Zhang Fengying and agreed. This made Wang Xian slightly surprised. It seemed that Zhang Fengying, who had a hot figure, had some ability. How is it, little guy? Zhang Fengying looked at Wang Xian and said condescendingly, "Let's go." Wang Xian realized that he was much shorter than Zhang Fengying. His figure was less than 1.8 meters. However, Zhang Fengying was close to 1.9 meters, which was about the same height as Zhang Etian. This made him feel a little awkward, and he said it directly. As for Wang Xian saying that he would listen to his commands, Wang Xian didn't agree to it immediately. With Wang Xian's light and dark fire dragon eyes, it was more appropriate for him to command, "HMPH, let's go." Seeing that he didn't reply, Zhang Fengying snorted softly and flew straight into the sky. The rest of them quickly followed behind. "Captain Wang, my aunt is very perceptive. You can listen to her first," Zhang Etian whispered to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head. The rest of them immediately flew towards the region of the Dragon Wind. The region of the Dragon Wind was 100 kilometers away from Donghai City. The reason why it was called the region of the Dragon Wind was because the wind and waves here were very strong. Under normal circumstances, the waves could reach a height of 100 meters. In this region, there were actually tornadoes. Sometimes there were even blade-splitting storms that could kill a Type 5 or 6 transcendent. At the bottom of the sea, there was an undersea forest. At the bottom of the sea, there was a type of wind chime tree. This type of tree could make a sound at the bottom of the sea. It was extremely mystical. Along the way, they encountered more than a dozen supernatural level 3 or 4 flying ferocious beasts. They were easily dealt with by them. 2 to 3 hours later, Wang Xian saw the waves in front of him becoming more turbulent. Huge waves came one after another. The wind was also more than 10 times the size of the area around Donghai City. Wang Xian even saw a huge phenomenon of a dragon sucking water. "Let's go down from here." After Zhang Fengying entered this place, her speed became even faster. A green light flashed in his eyes as he spoke to the people around him before entering the sea. Wang Xian and the rest immediately followed behind him. The wind-winged savage fish demon beasts live in the Windbell Forest at the bottom of the sea. They are digging a cave underground, and the cave is in all directions. The wind-winged savage fish demon beasts are controlling a group of ferocious beasts. Among them, the main one is the Jinlin boa. Everyone must be careful. If you are suddenly attacked by the Jinlin boa or the wind-winged savage fish, no one will be able to save you. After entering the ocean, Zhang Fengying's expression turned serious. He was holding a long whip in his hand and looked like a queen. Wang Xian looked down. The depth of the area was more than 20,000 meters. At a glance, it looked like a huge forest. The wind chime tree was about 30 meters tall. It was located at the bottom of the ocean. A slight touch would cause a sound. Once a fight broke out here, it would definitely attract the attention of the surrounding people. It was also because of the wind chime tree that a few years ago, many powerful mercenary groups were unable to do anything to the wind-wing rampant fish race. We must land at the bottom of the sea, or else we will be more easily discovered. Zhang Fengying's eyes flickered with a green light as she spoke to them. Everyone understood this place and nodded as they followed behind her. Chapter 1005 Pupil Technique. The bottom of the sea in the Dragon Wind region was not completely dark. The wind chimes on the wind chime tree were emitting a green light, and the bottom of the sea was also reflected in a green color. The surrounding area contained dense water energy and wind energy. In the wind chime forest, floating in the sky above the forest, was simply courting death. In the sky, one could float in the sky within a few thousand meters. The fierce beasts and demon beasts in the wind chime forest were easier to ambush and attack. After entering the underwater forest, they would be able to move more stealthily. Here, if you encounter a Jinlin boa or a wind-winged savage fish, you must kill them as fast as possible. Don't make too much noise. Wind and water elemental cultivators must pay attention. Don't let the sound of the wind chimes. Spread out. Zhang Fengying looked at the people behind him and warned with a serious face. Yes. The members of the Amethyst mercenary group were obviously not unfamiliar with Zhang Fengying. They nodded their heads heavily. Xia Homing and the rest also knew of her name and agreed with her. Wang Xian looked at this woman with a hot body. To be able to reach Transcendent Level 7, she must be extraordinary. Let's go. Zhang Fengying waved her hand. Everyone stared at their surroundings vigilantly. Wang Xian also looked around, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. Under his gaze, Wang Xian realized that there was a passage under the sea 500 meters in front of him. The passage was extremely huge, but there were no living things in it. Was this the nest of the wind-winged savage fish? Wang Xian looked around curiously. The passage led to the front, and it extended in all directions. It was like a huge maze. No wonder I can't get rid of this wind-winged savage fish. Their lair is so complicated. Even if an expert from the void interpretation realm came, he wouldn't be able to get rid of this wind-winged savage fish. Wang Xian looked at the bottom of the sea. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, an urgent sound came from the front. Wang Xian raised his head and looked ahead. He saw that Zhang Fengying, who was walking at the front, was holding a ferocious beast with a green long whip in her hand. The ferocious beast was 7 to 8 meters long, as thick as a bucket, and had 2 antennae on its head. It looked like a python, but there was a big difference. Bang! Zhang Fengying moved her arm and tightened the whip, and the 7 to 8 meter long embroidered scale BOA was instantly divided into several parts. Too ferocious. Miss Fengying is not only powerful in her ocular arts, but also a group of powerful ones. After all, she is the only one in the Zhang family who has activated her green eyes. Beside them, the group of youths from the Void Beast mercenary group whispered when they saw the powerful Zhang Fengying. Be careful. I discovered him when I was 1,000 meters away. Now that I am 500 meters away, you still haven't seen him? Zhang Fengying turned her head and looked at the group of people behind her with a displeased expression. Zhang Yitian felt a little awkward. She was used to this aunt of his. However, Zhang Lao, who was beside Xia Homing, could not help but twitch his lips. He lowered his head slowly and wiped the long saber in his hand, pretending that he did not hear anything. Zhang Lao is good at fighting. That little fellow, what are you good at? Zhang Fengying looked at Wang Xian. As a qualified commander, he had to understand the attributes and abilities of everyone. She did not need to ask about the others. However, he had to understand Wang Xian, who is also an extraordinary level 7 fighter. I'm good at it. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before saying, I'm good at scouting. You're good at scouting. Zhang Fengying was slightly stunned when she heard his words. Then, she looked at him with a teasing expression. Little fellow, you're good at scouting. Yes, big sister. Wang Xian heard him calling her little fellow again and again. He looked at her and replied, Big sister. When the surrounding people heard Wang Xian's words, they immediately looked over and then looked at Zhang Fengying. This big sister was really well addressed. You. Zhang Fengying glared at Wang Xian. When she saw the anger on his face, she immediately restrained herself. She looked at Wang Xian from head to toe and said, You're the only one who's good at scouting. Didn't you notice the Jinlin boa that was 500 meters away just now? Is this the scouting that you're good at? I'm indeed good at it. Wang Xian nodded his head, faintly. All right, then I'd like to see how good your scouting skills are. Come, let's walk at the front. Old Zhang, you stay behind us. Zhang Fengying raised her eyebrows and said to them, All right, Miss Zhang, I'm not good at this. I'll leave the scouting to you guys. Old Zhang nodded his head with a smile. Wang Xian walked over nonchalantly. Pa, kid, let's have a competition. Next, Let's see who will be the first to discover the ferocious beasts lurking around. Zhang Fengying placed her arm on Wang Xian's shoulder and said plainly. Wang Xian smiled and looked at Zhang Fengying, who was taller than him by half a head. He took 2 steps to the left and said, "All right." Zhang Fengying smiled when she saw his actions and shouted, "Let's go!" As they continued to walk forward, Zhang Fengying looked at Wang Xian with a smile on her face. Her eyes were flashing with a green glow. He swept his gaze across the surroundings. Green eyes. Wang Xian took a glance at Zhang Fengying and thought to himself, "I wonder what abilities this green eyes have." He continued walking forward. The wind chime tree was dozens of meters tall and the sea was calm. It was similar to the forest on the ground. After walking for more than 1,000 meters, Wang Xian scanned his surroundings with a smile on his face. Suddenly, he pointed upward with his arm. Without him saying a word, a golden swordfish behind him moved and flew directly toward a wind chime tree in front of him. Buzz! Metal swords pierced through the tree. Bang! A 7 to 8 meter large corpse fell to the ground. It was a caracal of extraordinary level 5. The group of people who were walking were stunned. Even Zhang Fengying looked over in astonishment. "There's a caracal on the tree." Her expression changed as she looked at Wang Xian. "You discovered it? The strength of your subordinates is not bad. Let's go." Wang Xian did not answer her and said plainly, "Who is it?" "A little cat meeting a dead rat." "How arrogant." Zhang Fengying saw that Wang Xian was ignoring her. She pouted and her expression became serious. A dense green energy gathered in her eyes. When Wang Xian saw her appearance, he retracted his dragon eyes of fire and light. Now he was only at the periphery. He would leave it to Zhang Fengying, his big sister. This way he was happy to be free. 500 meters to the left, there is a caracal boa wrapped around the tree. It's a level 5 transcendent. Let's go and take care of it. After walking for another 500 to 600 meters, Zhang Fengying's lips curled up slightly as she said softly, "A level 6 transcendent girl from the amethyst flew over immediately and took care of it." "Humph. 1 to 1. Zhang Fengying raised her head and looked at Wang Xian provocatively. This made him feel a little amused. He nodded his head lightly. "Continue." She continued to move forward with full of fighting spirit. She looked around vigilantly. Chapter 1006 was convinced. 8 to 1. After driving for an hour, Zhang Fengying waved the long whip in her hand and killed the anaconda. She looked at Wang Xian with a hint of contempt in her eyes. She had a tall and slender figure to begin with. Now that she raised her head, she looked even more impressive. Sister Zhang's alertness is one of the best in the entire Donghai city. That's right. There aren't many people in the entire Donghai city who possess ocular skills. Sister Zhang is the best. That's right, that's right. After walking for an hour, all the dangers were easily resolved by Zhang Fengying. Behind them, the Amethyst Mercenary Group and the Void Beast Mercenary Group also revealed relaxed expressions. All of them said, flatteringly, "All right, stop flattering us. Just now we were only at the outer perimeter. There were some extraordinary level 5 Jinlin boas. Next, we will be approaching the central area of the wind chime forest. We might encounter the windwing savage fish." Zhang Fengying waved her hand indifferently and looked at Wang Xian. "Little guy, there are still many things that you need to learn." Wang Xian and Zhang Fengying looked a little smug and felt amused. "Awesome, awesome. You're still the best. Big sister. Are you convinced now? You're not allowed to wear those big words. In the future, when you see me, be good and call me big sister. Call me big sister." Zhang Fengying looked at Wang Xian with her chin and said happily. The corner of Wang Xian's mouth twitched. "I think it's better to call you big sister. Just call me whatever I tell you to call me. In the future, don't be arrogant and don't be arrogant in front of me. Be humble and be defeated. Zhang Fengying looked at her and said with a smile on her face, "Let's continue." Wang Xian said to her helplessly, "Captain Wang, if you want to compete with Sister Zhang in scouting, you have lost." "That's right. Sister Zhang's eye technique is too powerful, and she has a lot of experience," the two young men behind whispered. "When we reach the central area, there might be a group of Jinlin boa. Everyone be careful." After walking for more than 10 kilometers, Elder Zhang jumped down from a tree and reminded everyone, "A cave has appeared. We have to be prepared to fight at any time." Zhang Fengying looked at the underground cave in the distance and reminded loudly. Entering the cave meant that they had truly entered the territory of the wind-winged savage fish. Around these underwater caves, there might be more than a dozen caracal boas or wind-winged savage fish that would suddenly appear. Once they entered the center, Wang Xian became vigilant. In his vision, there was a cave entrance that was about 2 to 3 meters wide every 100 meters in front of them. Beneath these caves were numerous tunnels that were densely packed together. They were considered to have gone smoothly in the periphery of the wind chime forest. However, the central area was the real beginning. "Take out the induction stone plate," Old Zhang said to a young man. The induction stone plate could sense the concentration of spiritual energy. The sensing range was 100 meters. The cave of the wind-winged savage fish was complicated, but the depth was less than 100 meters. Using this induction stone plate, if one discovered a spot where the spiritual stones were suddenly higher, it meant that it might be the true cave of the wind-winged savage fish. There might be treasures inside. Wang Xian took a look. To him, this induction stone plate was of no use. With his current strength, he could penetrate 500 to 600 meters of land when he looked underground. After walking for about half an hour, Zhang Fengying took care of the 2 golden scaled boas that were hiding around. The golden scaled boas here had reached Transcendent Level 6. "Take the induction plate and go to the cave." Zhang Fengying looked at the surrounding caves and walked over to check them. She pointed at the first cave that she checked. "All right, Sister Fengying." The girl nodded her head and immediately ran over with the induction plate. Wang Xian scanned his surroundings and looked at the bottom of the cave. Huh. Suddenly, Wang Xian was slightly taken aback. "Wait," he quickly said to the girl who was walking over. "Captain Wang, what's wrong?" The girl looked at him curiously. "What's wrong?" Zhang Fengying also looked at Wang Xian and asked curiously, "There's a wind-winged savage fish down there." Wang Xian pointed to a spot beside the cave and said, "It was a demonic beast with a pair of wings. Its head and body were similar to that of a shark. It had a thick layer of skin and a fish tail." Just now, Wang Xian took a look at his surroundings. There were no wind-winged savage fish there. Instead, they had just swam over from below. It was as though they were waiting for their arrival. Wang Xian pointed there and said. His gaze swept across his surroundings. More than 1,000 meters ahead, another wind-winged savage fish's head was revealed from the entrance of the cave. His gaze was cold as he looked over. "Why are there wind-winged savage fish? I have just checked over there. Little guy, are your eyes playing tricks on you?" Zhang Fengying looked at Wang Xian. However, she walked towards the cave that he was pointing at. Her green eyes looked into the cave and tried to sense it again. "It's confirmed that it's safe. Little one, you're still not up to it." Zhang Fengying smiled and looked at Wang Xian mockingly. Wang Xian did not look at her. Instead, he looked at the area below. He realized that when Zhang Fengying walked over, the wind-winged savage fish could sense her approaching and move 3 to 4 meters into the cave. The wind-winged savage fish is a wind attribute demonic beast. They can sense whether or not they are approaching through the flow of water. Wang Xian thought to himself, "Come over." Zhang Fengying waved at the girl. The girl immediately walked over. "Leader Wang, Don't worry about my aunt's investigative methods. Zhang Etian thought that Wang Xian was unwilling to give up and said to him with a smile, "Don't worry, Captain Wang. I still have faith in Sister Fengying." The girl smiled at him and walked to the entrance of the cave. Zhang Fengying continued to look at the cave in front of her. At this moment, the wind-winged savage fish slowly approached from the bottom of the cave. Bang! When Wang Xian saw this scene, the lightning wood in his hand gently landed on the ground. Boom! At this moment, a 1-meter-sized fish head suddenly emerged from the hole and attacked the girl. The girl held the communication stone plate in both hands. When she saw the wind-winged savage fish that had suddenly attacked her, her face revealed a look of horror. The loud sound caused the expressions of everyone around to change drastically. Zhang Fengying turned her head, and her face instantly turned ugly. The long whip in her hand wanted to rescue her. Whoosh! 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 However, at this moment, thorns emerged from the ground beside them and penetrated the wind-winged savage fish instantly. Wang Xian pulled his arm gently and pulled the 3-meter-long wind-winged savage fish out. Everyone was stunned when they saw that Wang Xian was killed by the wind-winged savage fish before its head even reached half a meter out. "Thank you." The girl thanked Wang Xian in a state of shock. If it wasn't for Wang Xian, she would have died for sure. Chapter 1007 was convinced. "Yes, be careful." Wang Xian nodded his head lightly and looked at the supernatural level 5 demon beast, the wind-winged savage fish. Compared to the ferocious beast, there wasn't much difference in intelligence. Wang Xian waved his arm and kept it into his interspatial ring. "You, how did you discover that there was a wind-winged savage fish demon beast there?" Zhang Fengying nodded at the girl apologetically. She came to Wang Xian's side and asked in astonishment, "With my eyes?" Wang Xian smiled faintly. "Who are you lying to?" Zhang Fengying glared at Wang Xian in disbelief. I didn't see it with my eyes. How could I know where it is?" "Let's go, continue," Wang Xian said in a speechless manner. Zhang Fengying's expression changed. "You saved Xiaoying's life just now. I'll count it as your win for 10 times. We'll win 13-10, she said to Wang Xian with a dark expression. Wang Xian smiled and looked at the spot in front of him. His eyes were sparkling. "Humph, you're so arrogant after winning. Just you wait." Zhang Fengying waited for Wang Xian. Her face was filled with displeasure as she looked ahead again. "Stop." After walking for a few hundred meters, Wang Xian said to all of them, "What's wrong, Captain Wang? Did you notice it again? There aren't any ferocious beasts 500 meters ahead?" Zhang Fengying's expression changed slightly. She stared at Wang Xian and said. The people behind also looked at Wang Xian in astonishment. "You guys that and that." Wang Xian did not answer them. He pointed to Ao Yao and the rest who were beside him and said, "Yes, leader." Ao Jian and the rest nodded their heads. Wang Xian looked ahead and pointed the lightning wood in his hand at the bottom of the sea. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Rays of light that were accompanied by lightning instantly spread forward at a terrifying speed. Boom, boom, boom. Zhang Fengying, the Amethyst Mercenary Group, and the Void Beast Mercenary Group all stared at Wang Xian's hand movements closely. At this moment, one by one, the caracal boas were entangled by thorns and crawled out of the cave. At the back of the cave, there was an extraordinary level 6 demon beast, the wind-winged savage fish. Golden Light Spike. Ao Jian and the other baron swordfish waved their long swords, and rays of golden light instantly penetrated into the heads of the Jinlin boa and the wind-winged savage fish. "Let's go," Wang Xian said to them and walked straight ahead. Everyone widened their eyes. Zhang Fengying had an incredulous look on her face. She looked at the corpses of the ferocious beasts on the ground and then at Wang Xian. How did you find them? Zhang Fengying walked to Wang Xian's side and asked while staring at him. My eyes, big sister. Wang Xian looked at her and replied truthfully. How is that possible? How can the eyes see them? They were clearly in the cave and were hidden so well. How can they see them? Zhang Fengying got closer with a face full of disbelief. When Wang Xian saw the hot figure right in front of him, the corner of his mouth twitched. Maybe it's because of my good eyesight. Zhang Fengying's expression changed. She knew that this was his secret, and it was impossible for her to tell him. This is considered a truce. Zhang Fengying's face darkened as she looked at Wang Xian and said, Let's keep moving. Wang Xian looked around and continued to walk towards the center. Zhang Fengying, who was at the side, looked around from time to time. She sized up Wang Xian from time to time. The people from the Amethyst mercenary group and the Void Beast mercenary group behind him were also stunned. They followed behind him in astonishment. This is too amazing. They are so far away and they are even hiding in the cave. How did Leader Wang manage to do it? It is quite abnormal. He discovered the ferocious beasts hidden below 500 to 600 meters away. This time, Leader Wang might be able to lead us to the Windwing Savage Fish's treasure. A few young men from the Void Beast mercenary group looked at Wang Xian with admiration and disgust in a low voice. The eyes of the group of girls at the side flickered as well. This was especially so for the girl who had just been rescued by Wang Xian. She didn't believe Wang Xian's words just now. If it weren't for him, she would probably be dead by now. After walking for 7,000 to 8,000 meters, Wang Xian suddenly discovered a location below them. A Windwing Savage Fish was following them. However, this Windwing Savage Fish was in a passage under the sea. Its body was stuck to the soil. It was obvious that it was listening to the sound of Wang Xian's footsteps. These Windwing Savage Fish are really smart. Perhaps they have been fighting with the mercenary group for the past few years. Their intelligence is getting higher and higher. Wang Xian thought to himself and stopped walking. What's wrong, Wang Group? Are there more ferocious beasts lying in ambush ahead? Seeing that Wang Xian had stopped, Elder Zing looked at him in astonishment as well. His gaze was fixed on the underwater caves ahead. Zhang Fengying's gaze was fixed on those caves. A green glow shot out from her eyes. It was obvious that she had unleashed her ocular arts to the maximum. Bang! The lightning struck when Wang Xian's hand landed on the ground. He waved his arm forcefully. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of a violent collision suddenly came from under their feet. This caused their expressions to change drastically. Boom! The ground split open instantly. An extraordinary level 6 Windwing Savage Fish was tied up by Wang Xian with thorns. Damn humans, I'm going to kill you all. The Windwing Savage Fish was tied up all over. Its pair of blood-red eyes stared at Wang Xian. Bang! Wang Xian struck the lightning wood in his hand and killed it instantly. This. Elder Zhang was stunned. Zhang Fengying, who was at the side, widened her eyes in disbelief. You actually discovered the demonic beasts hidden under our feet. How? How did you do it? This was the first time she felt defeated. When Wang Xian stopped earlier, she was still looking ahead. However, she did not expect him to discover the wind-winged, savage fish underground. The underground was the cave passage of the wind-winged savage fish. He had also learned about it from the information. The passage was at least 2 to 3 meters thick from the ground. It was difficult for the wind-winged savage fish to launch a sneak attack from the ground after 2 to 3 meters. In the end, a wind-winged savage fish was brought up directly from the passage below. How did he do it? Zhang Fengying looked at Wang Xian's feet and wondered if he had eyes on his feet. Let's go, big sister. Wang Xian looked at Zhang Fengying, who was looking at him expectantly. His face was filled with smiles. Big sister, She was just a big sister, but now she had become a big sister. She couldn't leave this big sister behind no matter what. Zhang Fengying's expression changed. This was a blatant insult. Leader Wang, you are simply too powerful. Not only powerful, you are practically invincible. Even the demonic beasts below us can discover you. Haha, with Leader Wang, we will definitely be able to return with a full load. The group of young men from the Void Beast Mercenary Group said with a fawning expression. Even some of the girls were staring at Wang Xian's figure with twinkling stars in their eyes. Be on high alert. Zhang Fengying growled with an embarrassed expression. When everyone saw her sullen face, they shrunk their heads slightly and stopped talking. Leader Wang, how did you do it? She couldn't help but walk over and ask again. Call me Big Brother. Wang Xian said faintly. Big Brother. She gritted her teeth. Are you convinced? I'm convinced. Chapter 1008, Deep Pit. Wang Xian didn't really care about size. It was fine for an old man to address him as little brother young man. However, Wang Xian had some objections when a lady called him young man. Therefore, she could only address him as big sister, even though she was much older than him. Wang Xian looked at Zhang Fengying, who was completely convinced by him. A faint smile appeared on his face. When I lowered my head just now, I saw a demonic beast down there. Hence, I killed it. Wang Xian looked at her and said to her with a serious expression. You. Zhang Fengying saw that he still didn't tell her. She looked embarrassed as she gritted her teeth and stared at him. I've already called you Big Brother. Why aren't you telling me? It's my duty. You've lost. Wang Xian said indifferently and looked ahead. Let's go. Let's continue forward. All right. After witnessing Wang Xian's perverse detection technique, the group of people hurriedly followed behind him. Auntie, let's follow him. Zhang Etian walked to her side, pulled her arm, and shouted. Xiao Tian, are you sure that he is a new student of your Demon Hunters Academy? Zhang Fengying asked Zhang Etian with a solemn face. Although he hasn't been to the academy many times, he is indeed a student of our academy. Isn't he a pervert? Zhang Etian nodded and whispered. Do you know what background he has? Zhang Fengying asked expressionlessly. I don't know. Zhang Etian shook his head. Zhang Fengying's eyes flickered as she followed closely behind Wang Xian. Bang, bang, bang. Wang Xian walked toward the center. With a wave of his arm, Ao Jian and the rest immediately charged toward him. With a tap of the lightning strike wood in his hand, the wind-winged, savage, fish demon beast was killed. This miraculous technique made the members of the Void Beast Mercenary Group and Amethyst Mercenary Group widen their eyes. Their eyes were filled with shock. Zhang Fengying had been staring at Wang Xian the entire time. She did not see any trace of him. Could it be that his bloodline level is very high? She thought to herself. Then she looked at the group of golden swordfish, and her eyes were filled with astonishment. His subordinates are so powerful. All of them are at extraordinary level 6. Zhang Etian and Xia Homing were also looking at Ao Jian and the rest in astonishment. The strength of a transcendent level rank 6 was equivalent to that of a leader or deputy leader in the East Sea City mercenary group. In fact, many of the leaders of the mercenary groups were only at transcendent level rank 6. 11 subordinates who were at transcendent level rank 6 were already quite powerful. They walked for 5 hours without any obstacles. Along the way, they encountered the highest demonic beasts that were at transcendent level 6 as well. All of them were easily killed by Wang Xian and the rest. There's a deep pit in front of us. It used to be the central area of the territory of the winged howler fish. Old Zhang's voice rang out as everyone looked ahead. There was a huge empty space there. From afar, One could see the caracal boas entrenched there. They were entrenched on the surrounding wind chime trees, as though they were guarding the empty space. Is that the deep pit of the cave? Wang Xian looked over. The deep pit of the cave was the central area of the wind-winged fish in the past. It was also the place where the top-grade wind-winged fish lived. This was the starting point of the cave. From here, one could enter any part of the cave. Along the way, they did not discover any treasure with the induction stone plate. They could only enter from here and enter the cave. Ever since the top-grade wind-winged savage fish were killed, this place had become an entrance. The wind-winged savage fish entered the main entrance. According to the information, the wind-winged savage fish's treasure house should be not far from the main entrance. It seems that we did not cause any commotion along the way. Otherwise, there would not be a brocade scale boa guarding this place. Elder Zeng looked ahead, his face beaming with joy. As long as there was no commotion, it was a good thing. If a powerful, transcendent rank 8 expert came here and attracted the attention of the wind-winged savage fish, they would hide in secret. You had no idea where they were hiding or where their treasures were. First, we have to destroy the hundreds of transcendent rank 5 and 6 Caracas, and not allow them to transmit their voices. Elder Zeng looked at the deep pit in the cave and said softly, "We have prepared a soundless formation at transcendent level 7 here. We have set it up in the surroundings so that we can't transmit our voices out." Xia Homing took out a formation compass and said to them, "Let's end this as soon as possible." Zhang Fengying looked at Wang Xian and said, "All right, let's end this as soon as possible." A group of people nodded their heads. 4 wind attribute experts at transcendent level 6 took out the formation and immediately went over to hide. Kill! When Elder Zeng saw that the formation was set up, he let out a soft shout and charged forward. On the way, Zhang Fengying was initially on guard, and then it was Wang Xian. Now, it was finally time for him to show his prowess. Charge! The members of the Amethyst Mercenary Group and the Void Beast Mercenary Group charged forward immediately. Wang Xian followed closely behind. 11 golden swordfish held golden long swords in their hands and followed behind. Buzz! At the deep pit of the cave, more than 100 caracal boas noticed their arrival and let out a roar. A few caracal boas swept their tails heavily on the wind chime tree. The wind chimes on the wind chime tree swayed. However, they did not hear any sound. The soundless formation was an extremely useless wind attribute formation. At this moment, it could bring out a miraculous effect. Roar! 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 Walala! When Wang Xian rushed into the formation, he heard the roar and the sound of wind chimes. A smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. He held the lightning strike wood in his hand. The wood was emitting green and blue rays of light. Whoosh! 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 He waved his arm, and a thorny vine that was accompanied by lightning struck the dozen or so caracal at the level 6 transcendence in front of him. Bam! 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 However, before his attack could land, a 1,000-meter-long wind whip lashed onto the caracal boas instantly, tearing their skin and flesh. Humph! A cold snort came from beside his ear. Wang Xian looked over. Zhang Fengying rolled her eyes at him and looked at him provocatively. Let's see who kills the most. Wang Xian found it funny. She wanted to get back at him for her failure in scouting. Wang Xian smiled and waved his arm. A dense azure dragon aura landed on a chime tree. Spirit enchantment. He shouted softly. The chime tree seemed to have come to life as it instantly attacked the surrounding brocade-scaled boas. He leaped onto the tree. With the lightning strike wood in his hand, he swept across the surrounding ferocious beasts. Someone actually arrived before us. At this moment, a large group of people suddenly arrived not far from them. There were more than 100 people in total. Some of them were students from the Demon Hunter College. while the others were mercenaries from outside the college. When they saw the battle in front of them, their faces revealed a look of surprise. Chapter 1009, Acted Alone. It's the Void Beast mercenary group and the Amethyst mercenary group. I didn't expect them to arrive here before us. That's Zhang Fengying from the Zhang family, and Zhang Qixiong from the Xiahou mercenary group. He's a transcendent level 7 powerhouse. They're almost finished with the Jean Lin Boa at the entrance. There were more than 100 people. 2 middle-aged men and 2 old men stood at the front. Beside them were 4 young men. Obviously, Zhang Yitian Xiahou and the rest had called Zhang Fengying and Elderzhen over for this mission. The group of them had also called over 4 experts who were at Transcendent Level 7. They were a team formed by 7 mercenary groups from the Demon Hunter College. Their abilities far surpassed the Void Beast mercenary group and the Amethyst mercenary group. When Wang Xian noticed the arrival of the group of people, he had already stopped and looked at their location. 23. HMPH, you seem to only have a dozen of them. After Zhang Fengying had killed 23 Caracas, she looked at Wang Xian with a smug expression. However, when she saw Wang Xian looking into the distance, she was slightly taken aback. Immediately, she noticed a group of people that was 1,000 meters away. What sharp eyes! Zhang Fengying mumbled to Wang Xian with an unhappy expression. It was obvious that he was unhappy when he saw that Wang Xian had discovered that there were people outside before him and that he had lost in the investigation. He looked at the group of people with displeasure. Captain Zhang, Captain Xiahou, and 2 seniors. I didn't expect you guys to arrive faster than us. The group of people walked over and spoke to Zhang Yitian, Xiahoming, and the rest. What a coincidence! Zhang Fengying clearly brought her emotions to them as she said coldly, "Hee, we're just lucky. Thank you for getting rid of these brocade scale boas." A middle-aged man at the front said with a smile, "Should we work together or go our own ways?" Elder Zhang walked over and looked at them. "What do you think?" The middle-aged man looked at them and exchanged glances with the 3 Transcendent Level 7 experts beside him. He smiled. "All right." The few people beside them nodded. It was not as if no one had entered the cave of the Windwing savage fish before. They either died or returned empty-handed. No one knew how dangerous it was. Most of them were just students. It was fine if they could not get the treasure, but it was not worth it if they lost their lives. At the last banquet, their idea was to join forces. This time, they naturally would not refuse. "Commander Zhang, Commander Xiahou, let's make a plan. I have a map of the cave of the wind-winged savage fish. Although it may be detailed, it is better than nothing." A young man held a map in his hand and said to Zhang Yitian and Xiahoming, "All right, it's good that we can complete this mission. Even if we fail, we can treat it as an experience. Our lives are more important." Xiahoming walked over with a smile on his face. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and walked towards the young man. "Huh." However, when the young man saw Wang Xian walking over, he was slightly stunned. Then he slowly folded the map in his hand and looked at him with a frown. "Wang Xian. Wang Xian. That new student Wang Xian. I didn't expect him to follow the Void Beast Amethyst over." When they saw the young man calling out the name of Wang Xian, the rest of the people behind looked over at the same time with curious expressions on their faces. Currently, everyone in the Demon Hunters Academy knew the name of Wang Xian. No one dared to admit that he was the one who killed Yun Hanhai and the rest. However, most people felt that he was foolish and was courting death. Captain Lian, the young master's mercenary group, has said that whoever defends him, regardless of which mercenary group, they will definitely make him pay a heavy price. Also, on the Yun family's side, a young man walked over and whispered to Captain Lian, who was holding a map in his hand. When the 4 middle-aged men heard their words, they raised their eyebrows and waved at a young man beside them. "Captain Zhang, Captain Xiahou, we can work together, but this Wang Xian..." Captain Lian looked at Zhang Yitian and Xia Hongming and said indifferently, "We can't bring him along. I heard that the Yun family is already preparing to take revenge." "Huh? What's going on? Why can't we bring him along? This fellow is much more useful than you guys." Zhang Fengying heard Captain Lian's words and said coldly with some surprise, "Hee, there are some things that you might not know, Senior. Right now, no one dares to get close to this person." A young man next to him looked at Wang Xian with a mocking expression. "It's not good for a person who is about to die to implicate others." "Huh?" Zhang Fengying was stunned. Zhang Yitian and Xia Hongming frowned and looked at them. "From the looks of it now, our cooperation. That's good. You guys can go with them. I'll go alone." Wang Xian didn't pay any attention to the words of the few young men. He said directly to Zhang Yitian, Xia Hongming, and the rest, "Leader Wang, don't worry. We won't." Zhang Yitian was slightly stunned and quickly explained, "I'll go alone. I'll be a burden if I go with you guys." Wang Xian said with a smile, "Hee, you really know your limits. You know that you will be a burden." Captain Lian said with a smile when he heard Wang Xian's words, "Captain Wang won't be a burden. Captain Wang's strength." "Xiaohua, don't speak." A girl from the Amethyst mercenary group wanted to refute on Wang Xian's behalf, but Zhang Yitian quickly stopped her. The young master's mercenary group and the Yun family wanted to deal with Wang Xian. However, they didn't know Wang Xian's true strength yet. Once he revealed his true strength, he would be in even more danger. "Stop!" Zhang Yitian quickly shouted. Xia Hongming also gestured to his subordinates behind him to stop them from talking. You brat!" Zhang Fengying revealed a displeased expression when she heard that he was dragging them down. She knew that he was referring to them. "Hee, you guys can come along. I'll be leaving first." Wang Xian was all smiles. He waved his hand at Zhang Fengying and the rest and walked straight into the deep pit. Speaking of which, he still had to thank these people. Now that he was here, he had already understood everything that he needed to know. Following the Amethyst mercenary group and the Void Beast mercenary group would make him feel restricted. Wang Xian was more than happy to part with them. Although it was a little like burning the bridge after crossing the river, he would give them some compensation if he could obtain the treasure. "You bastard, get lost now." Zhang Fengying became even angrier when she saw Wang Xian's happy face. Clearly, this fellow was eager to part with them. It was obvious that he despised them. "Kid, hurry up and leave. The young master's mercenary group and the Yun family might come looking for you soon. Hee, it's better to die at the hands of the ferocious beasts than to be tortured to death." Chapter 1010 Windwing's Savage Fish's Treasure. "Boss, should we make a move? If we kill this kid, young master's mercenary group and the Yun family will definitely give us a lot of benefits. The Amethyst mercenary group and the Void Beast mercenary group are here. You want to kill him? Shut up." "Hee, boss, I don't know why this kid let the Amethyst mercenary group and the Void Beast mercenary group protect him so much. What's the use of that, now that he has offended the Yun family? Even with the background of their two leaders, they can't protect this kid. After all, Yun Hanhai is the most outstanding disciple of the Yun family." As they watched Wang Xian and his men walking into the deep pit of the cave, everyone looked at their backs and whispered to each other. Leader Lian even mocked them. Only the Amethyst mercenary group and the Void Beast mercenary group had ugly expressions on their faces. They had witnessed Wang Xian's incredible detection ability along the way. Following Wang Xian was definitely more suitable than working together with them. However, Wang Xian found an excuse to separate from them. This made them unhappy. Zhang Yitian and Xia Hongming exchanged glances. They walked over helplessly and discussed their next move with the other mercenary groups in the Demon Hunters Academy. Zhang Fengying was the only one who was glaring at Wang Xian's figure with gritted teeth. He wished he could swallow him whole. There are quite a number of people. 5 minutes later, Zhang Yitian, Xia Homing, and the rest were discussing beside the deep pit in the cave when a group of people flew over. The group of people looked over and revealed a hint of surprise on their faces. There were 30 people in the group. The weakest among them was at level 6 extraordinary. However, this was not what surprised them. What surprised them was the 8 people at the front. Rank 7 Transcendent, 8 Rank 7 Transcendent experts. It's Snake Mark. I didn't expect Commander Snake to come personally. Those 4 middle-aged men are from the Yun family. Hiss, the Yun family actually sent 4 Rank 7 Transcendent experts over. They are. Everyone looked over in astonishment. Even Zhang Fengying and Elder Zeng had solemn expressions on their faces. They knew this group of people and their abilities were not weaker than theirs. Everyone, I heard that Wang Xian is here. Have you seen him? Snake Hen swept his gaze across the group of Amethyst and Void Beast and asked coldly. Yes, we have. Commander Lien looked at Zhang Yitian and Xia Homing, turned around and said, Commander Snake, they entered the deep hole 5 minutes ago. Oh, really? He looked into the deep hole and said, If you see them, please inform the communication stone plate. We will definitely thank you. Also, I hope no one will protect them. As he spoke, he looked at Zhang Yitian and Xia Homing. Let me tell you, anyone who dares to protect the person who killed our young master is an enemy of the Yun family. Don't blame us for being ruthless when the time comes. A middle-aged man from the Yun family, standing next to Snake Mark, warned the members of the Amethyst mercenary group and the Void Beast mercenary group with a murderous look in his eyes. This made Zhang Yitian and Xia Homing extremely embarrassed. Zhang Fengying and Elder Zeng, who were standing at the side, also had a glint in their eyes. They did not dare to help Wang Xian openly after the Yun family had made such a harsh statement. Everyone will go in first. Snake Trace took a glance at them and walked straight into the deep pit. A group of experts followed behind him. We have to hurry over as well. Snake Trace and the Yun family not only want to kill Wang Xian, but they also want to try their luck. Captain Lien said anxiously when he saw them enter. Let's go. Zhang Yitian, Xia Homing, and a few level 7 supernatural realm experts nodded their heads and entered the deep pit immediately. At this moment, Wang Xian had already entered the deep pit. The deep pit had an area of about 2,000 square meters and was about 5 meters deep. It was surrounded by densely packed caves. There were at least 1,000 caves, some big and some small. Through these caves, one could enter the cave of the wind-winged savage fish. Wang Xian directly chose a relatively large cave entrance in the middle and walked in. Once they entered the cave entrance, it was as though they had entered a maze. When they walked for about 100 meters, they encountered a fork in the road. Let's go this way. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. He chose a path and walked straight in. In his vision, there were passages on both the left and right sides. The passages were blocked by the soil 5 to 6 meters away. As they were at the bottom of the sea, which was more than 20,000 meters away, the soil was extremely hard. Without the strength of a level 5 extraordinary, it would be difficult to dig a hole. With the light and dark fire dragon eyes, as long as my luck is not too bad, I will definitely be able to find the treasure of the winged savage fish. The corners of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly as he walked straight ahead. He scanned his surroundings and could see through an area of 500 to 600 meters. There's actually an ambush. Wang Xian walked forward and a corner appeared in front of him. At the corner, there were 2 caracal boas hanging above. If anyone came in, they would definitely be attacked by them. He waved his hand and walked straight ahead. Bang! Bang! Before he could walk over, 2 sounds of falling could be heard. 2 caracal boas that were at Transcendent Level 6 had been killed by the strange demon and the rest. The cave of the wind-winged savage fish was about 5 meters wide. The strange demon would be restricted a little here. However, hunting other ferocious beasts and demonic beasts would be a piece of cake. Continue. With the light-dark fire dragon eyes and the strange demon and the rest, Wang Xian's speed was extremely fast. Everything in the surroundings was under control. Once he discovered the demonic beasts and demonic beasts, he would be able to be hunted by the strange demon rapidly. After entering this place, I will completely lose my direction. Even if I have the light-dark fire dragon eyes, I don't know where I came from. Wang Xian looked behind him. He had completely lost his direction. If he wanted to leave, he could only make a hole above him and leave. No wonder it has been so long. The species of the wind-winged savage fish and demonic beasts have not been eliminated. Wang Xian continued to walk forward. Suddenly, he stopped and looked to the left. That is the nest. Wang Xian looked to the left with his eyes glowing. In his vision, there was a huge cave behind the 7 passages. It was different from this kind of passage. It was a real cave. In the cave, there were more than 10 wind-winged savage fish. The weakest wind-winged savage fish was at level 4, and the rest were at level 5 or 6 of the supernatural realm. Wang Xian smiled. I've finally encountered a cave. I heard that there are treasures in every cave. Demonic beasts were no less intelligent than humans. A cave was equivalent to a small family clan. Within this small family clan, there would be treasures. Wang Xian held the lightning strike wood in his hand and inserted it into the wall of the passageway on the left. He dug out a hole and walked straight over. A group of members from the Dragon Palace followed behind him. Chapter 10:11. Under the treasure of the wind-winged savage fish. Bang, bang, bang. Wang Xian used the lightning strike wood to break through the holes one by one. Then he and the members of the Dragon Palace walked into the cave. Get ready. After breaking through 7 passages, Wang Xian said to Ao Yao and the rest behind him, It's the Dragon King. Ao Yao nodded. He held the lightning strike wood in his hand and placed it gently on the wall of the passage. Buzz! The thick wall cracked open and a 3-meter-wide hole slowly appeared. He looked into the hole and saw a group of wind-winged savage fish. They had already noticed the commotion here and were staring at it intently. Their bodies were lying on the ground and their eyes were filled with vigilance. Bang! Wang Xian pushed his arm and the entire 3-meter-wide hole appeared. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, a wind sword that was like an aurora came straight at them. Wang Xian moved his body, and a huge earth shield instantly appeared in front of him. Under any state, Wang Xian, who was at Transcendent Level 7, could easily deal with the attacks of a group of people who were at Transcendent Level 6. Kill! The wind sword landed on the earth shield. Wang Xian let out a soft shout, and the golden swordfish and strange demon instantly attacked them from behind. Damned humans, I'm going to tear you into pieces. An extraordinary level 6, wind-winged savage fish stared at Wang Xian and the rest viciously and roared loudly. Leave one alive. Wang Xian said indifferently. Ao Jian and Ao Demon's attacks had already landed on more than 10 wind-winged savage fish. One by one, the wind-winged savage fish were killed easily. Human, you actually killed our family members. You deserve to die. I'm going to kill all of you. The last survivor spoke the language of the humans from the supernatural continent. His expression was extremely ferocious. Soul Catcher. Wang Xian saw the bloodthirsty and hateful expression of the wind-winged savage fish. He frowned slightly and moved his body. He used the supernatural ability, Soul Catcher. Soul-absorbing ability. By absorbing the souls of other creatures, one could extract their memories. Wang Xian rarely used this ability. This was because the memories of the other party were too huge and it would deplete his spirit. Buzz! A special energy entered Wang Xian's mind. Instantly he felt that something was forcefully stuffed into his mind. A ferocious aura filled Wang Xian's mind. Slowly he frowned slightly. They actually relied on the smell and the direction of the wind to walk in the passageway. This is troublesome. Wang Xian sensed this information and shook his head. From the memories in his mind, he learned that the wind-winged savage fish was a very greedy, demonic beast. They liked to plunder, especially humans. They treated humans as their food. In addition, they liked to plunder all kinds of treasures to increase their strength. What a greedy race! Wang Xian thought to himself. He looked around and saw that Ao Jian and the rest had kept more than 10 corpses into their interspatial rings. He looked at the entire cave. The cave that occupied a radius of 2,000 meters was divided into small holes to live in. In the middle of the cave, the hole was the largest. There were some things hidden inside. Wang Xian immediately walked over and entered the cave. He saw many items placed inside. Weapons. Transcendent level weapons. There are so many of them. There's even an interspatial ring. What is this? Wang Xian was astonished. These weapons were obviously obtained by the winged howler fish after they hunted humans. Other than these items, there were 3 other items. Azure Stone, Transcendent Tier, 6 material. Wind Chime Flower, Transcendent Tier, 5 material. Wind Chime Liquid, Transcendent Tier, 6 spirit, liquid. Of the 3 items, Azure Stone was used to refine arrays and weapons. 1 Azure Stone was worth 5,000 mid-grade spirit stones, and there were over 1,000 Azure Stones here. The value of the Wind Chime Flower was relatively low, a few hundred mid-grade spirit stones. As for the Wind Chime Liquid, a drop could reach several thousand mid-grade spirit stones, and there were at least several thousand drops here. Excluding some extraordinary level 5 or 6 weapons and armor, the value of these 3 items alone had reached more than 10 million. No wonder the mercenary group from Donghai City would come here one after another. The value of the items from a small family, like the wind-winged savage fish, is so high. Then, wouldn't the treasures of the entire demonic beast race be worth hundreds of millions, or even dozens of medium-grade spirit stones? Wang Xian's eyes were burning with passion. After putting away all the treasures, Wang Xian scanned his surroundings and said, "Let's go!" He moved his body and walked towards the location inside. The soul catcher didn't get any information. He could only search slowly. As he walked deeper into the cave, he realized that at the fork in the road, he would often encounter the hidden, brocade-scaled boa. It seemed to be guarding this place. After driving for another half an hour, Wang Xian had no idea where he was. He swept his gaze around and found another cave. It was about the same size as the cave earlier. There were less than 10 wind-winged fish in it. Wang Xian opened up the passage and killed them easily. This is the wind-clearing crossbow. It's a special weapon of Transcendent Level 6. After killing all the wind-winged fish in the cave, Wang Xian entered the cave and found more than 10 special weapons. Wind-clearing crossbow, Transcendent Level 6 weapon. This weapon was similar to a bow and arrow, but it was completely different from a bow and arrow. It was similar to the Zhuge crossbow. The entire weapon looked very complicated. This was the most complicated weapon that Wang Xian had seen since he came to the Transcendence continent. Even the defensive weapons were not as complicated as this one. It should be worth a lot of spirit stones. Wang Xian looked at the 1-meter-long wind-clearing crossbows and continued his search. At this moment, in the underground passage of the wind-winged savage fish, the amethyst void beast and the rest of the mercenary groups from the Demon Hunters Academy were carefully groping around in the passage. There were more than 100 people, and they looked rather majestic. However, 3 of them died within a short span of 4 to 5 hours. What they didn't know was that one by one, The Jinlin boa had already passed this news to the demon beast race of the wind-winged savage fish. Compared to Wang Xian, they had only harvested some of the corpses of the ferocious beasts. Even though they had found the cave, the wind-winged savage fish had already fled before they arrived. Not a single treasure was left behind. There are level 6 extraordinary wind-winged savage fish in ordinary caves. There must be an even stronger existence in the entire race. Wang Xian kept the corpses of the level 6 extraordinary wind-winged savage fish as he thought to himself. However, regardless of whether there was a level 7 or level 8 extraordinary, Wang Xian was not worried at all. With their strength, they could still fight if they encountered a level 9 extraordinary wind-winged savage fish. Let's continue. Wang Xian thought to himself as he continued to walk forward. The dragon's eyes of light and dark fire scanned the surroundings. In at most a week, Wang Xian would be able to completely search this place. By then, he didn't know how much he would gain. Chapter 1012 Nest. Wang Xian led a group of members of the Dragon Palace to hunt and scrupulously in the territory of the wind-winged savage fish. In just over 10 hours, the various weapons, equipment, and materials were stored in 2 interspatial rings. According to his calculations, the items in his hands were worth at least 100 million spirit stones. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just as Wang Xian was continuing his search in the passageway, the sound of wind whistling suddenly came from the passageway. What is this? Wang Xian frowned slightly. This kind of wind whistling was known from the memory of the soul-sucking, wind-winged savage fish. It was a way to contact the species of the wind-winged savage fish. Is there something wrong? Or did so many people enter their territory and get discovered by them? Wang Xian thought to himself as he looked ahead. After walking forward for half an hour, Wang Xian actually encountered more than 20 wind-winged savage fish in the tunnel. A thoughtful look appeared on his face as he casually destroyed them. After destroying them, Wang Xian continued to move forward. The wind-winged savage fish actually came out of the cave in this passage. It seems that something must have happened. Wang Xian scanned his surroundings and saw a group of more than 10 wind-winged savage fish walking forward in a passage at the side. He hesitated for a moment and watched them leave his sight. Follow them. They should be heading to the largest nest. Wang Xian immediately broke through the walls of the passageway and entered the passageway where more than a dozen wind-winged savage fish were. Follow behind and don't make any noise. Wang Xian reminded the members of the Dragon Palace. He stared ahead and locked onto the group of wind-winged savage fish. They were traveling at a very fast speed. When they encountered a fork in the road, they would immediately make a choice. Clearly, they were traveling with a purpose. Wang Xian had been following behind them for 500 meters. Due to the complexity of the passage, the group of wind-winged savage fish did not notice their tracking. After walking for more than an hour, more than 100 wind-winged savage fish appeared in his line of sight. Among them, there were more than 10 wind-winged savage fish whose bodies were emitting a pure green glow. They were very different from the level 6 extraordinary fish that he had killed. According to Wang Xian's senses, these were level 7 extraordinary wind-winged savage fish. Why are there so many wind-winged savage fish here? The group of wind-winged savage fish stopped. Following that under his astonished gaze, they actually disappeared into the wall beside them. Strange, very strange. What is that? Is it a formation? Wang Xian revealed a shocked expression. The light and dark fire dragon eyes could not penetrate that area. Obviously, if it was a formation, its level would definitely not be lower than Transcendent Level 8, or even higher. Ao Yao, go and take a look. Be careful. Wang Xian withdrew his contempt for the wind-winged savage fish and ordered Ao Yao. It's the Dragon King. Ao Yao nodded and walked towards the walls of the passageway ahead. His body moved and entered the passageway directly. It's really a formation. However, Ao Yao, who possesses the shadowless divine ability, can ignore the formation. Wang Xian stood there and waited quietly. In less than 10 seconds, Ao Yao's figure returned to his side. Dragon King, the position in front is a formation. There are still many passageways within the formation. I didn't see the wind-winged, savage fish. They should have gone deeper. Ao Yao reported to Wang Xian. Ao Jian, all of you wait here. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment and said to Ao Jian. Both he and the strange demon had the talent to ignore the formation. They wouldn't be repelled or sensed by the formation when they entered. All right, Dragon King. Ao Jian and the rest nodded and waited on the spot. Wang Xian walked forward. He walked to the wall and walked straight in. Once he entered, there was still a passageway. He immediately looked through the dragon eyes of light and dark fire. It's really secretive. Apart from the formation, there are 3 more passageways. Wang Xian was amazed, as expected of a demonic beast that was comparable to humans in terms of intelligence. They hid themselves so that even a void interpretation stage powerhouse wouldn't be able to find them. He walked in carefully. Before he entered, he saw 400 to 500 wind-winged, savage fish walking out. Moreover, there were over 1,000 huge caracal boas around them. Their faces were filled with violent, murderous intent. Damn humans! How dare they step into the territory of our wind-winged, savage fish and eat them? There are many more humans than before. Their strength is not to be underestimated. However, they should be able to have a good meal. Roar, roar! Some of the wind-winged, savage fish spoke the language of humans with ferocious expressions. Among the group of wind-winged, savage fish, there were about 20 pure green, demonic beasts. Wang Xian's gaze slowly shifted to the spot where they came out from. A demonic beast of supernatural level 8. That should be the wind-winged, savage fish of supernatural level 8. A huge nest appeared in his line of sight. Wang Xian looked at the huge nest. There was a 4-meter-long wind-winged, savage fish lying on the high platform in the middle. Beside it was a 14 to 15-meter-long anaconda with a ferocious aura. There were more than 10 pure green, wild-winged fish over there. This cave was extremely huge. It had an area of at least 3 to 4 kilometers. Each cave looked like a luxurious house. At the back, there was a stone statue. The stone statue was a 10-meter-tall, wild-winged fish. This stone statue was covered with a layer of green items. This should be the lair of the wind-wing, rampaging fish. A hint of excitement flashed across Wang Xian's eyes as he sized up the place. There was a wind-wing rampaging fish that was at least at Transcendent Level 8 and 13 wind-wing pomfret fish that were at Transcendent Level 7. There was also a group of powerful brocade scale boas. That's the leader. The treasures of the wind-wing rampaging fish should be here. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. A few hundred wind-winged savage fish were obviously dealing with some matters. This was the best time to attack. Let's get the treasures first, Wang Xian thought to himself. He waved his hand at Ao Yao and the rest and walked towards the huge nest of the wind-winged savage fish. Prepare for an assassination. In order to prevent further complications, Wang Xian ordered Ao Yao to go in for an assassination. He followed behind and sneaked in carefully. Attack! Standing in front of the entrance of the nest of the wind-winged savage fish, Wang Xian immediately gave the order. In an instant, the sound of claws entering one's body could be heard from inside. Roar! Roar! Despicable humans! I didn't expect you humans to barge in. Suddenly, when Ao Yao's attack landed on the leader of the wind-winged savage fish, who was lying on a high platform, a green energy instantly formed a protective barrier around it. The Aoyao's claws were instantly blocked. Its crocodile-like head swiftly and fiercely attacked the Ao Yao. Humans have entered. Kill them. In addition, a few wind-winged savage fish that had not been attacked roared. Chapter 1013. The Leader of the Clan. The strange demon that was shrouded in white light was treated as a human by the wind-winged savage fish. The claws of the Ao demon were blocked by the green wind shield, and its figure appeared instantly. When Wang Xian saw that the extraordinary level 8 wind-winged savage fish was actually able to block the attack of the Ao demon, he revealed a look of surprise. Is it another treasure? Wang Xian looked over and moved his body. He walked over from the entrance. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The group of strange demons instantly arrived behind Wang Xian. The strange demon also came to his side. Dragon King, this leader of the wind-winged savage fish, has a weapon on him to block my attack. Ao Yao stared at the leader of the wind-winged savage fish and said with a solemn expression, Humans, it is indeed you. You bunch of despicable and cunning humans actually barged into our lair. The 4-meter-long wind-winged savage fish on the central platform lay there, its huge head staring at them coldly. On its head, a green crown slowly formed. Its ferocious face only added a bit of dignity. It's that green crown. Ao Yao stared at the green crown on its head and said with a grave expression, It was definitely not an ordinary treasure that could withstand his assassination. Submit to me, otherwise all of you will die. Wang Xian's gaze swept across the entire hall. The leader of the wind-winged savage fish was at level 8 supernatural realm, and the leader of the brocade scale boa was at level 8 supernatural realm. After 15 of the level 7 supernatural realm warriors were killed by the strange demon in an instant, there were only about 10 of them left. This force was not very strong. They could easily destroy it. Surrender? Die. The leader of the wind-winged savage fish lay on the high platform with its head stretched out. Its eyes were roaring crazily. It opened its mouth. The crown on its head was flickering with a dense green wind energy. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, wind blades that blotted out the sky and the earth attacked them. With a wave of Wang Xian's arm, the earth shield appeared in front of them instantly. Bang, bang, bang. The earth shield collapsed immediately after the collision. What a powerful attack. Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. He moved his body and dodged to the side. The group of strange demons behind him dodged in a hurry. Kill them. Wang Xian ordered Ao Yao and the rest directly. Yes. Ao Yao stared the leader of the wind-winged savage fish and attacked it in an instant. The group of strange Yao Yao also attacked the wind-winged savage fish and the Jinlin boa in the entire nest. Wang Xian stood there and did not make a move. His gaze swept across the entire nest of the wind-winged savage fish. Behind him was a 10-meter-long statue of the wind-winged savage fish that was draped in green leather. Behind the statue was a cave. The cave was emitting a green light. This light blocked his vision. The entire statue and the cave behind it gave him a mysterious feeling. It was like a place of worship for a race. Demonic beasts possessed intelligence that was not inferior to humans. They also had all sorts of strange customs. Bang! Bang! A violent sound was heard. Wang Xian turned his head and looked at the scene. More than a dozen wind-winged savage fish and the brocade scale boa that were at Transcendent Level 7 were easily killed by the strange demon. Even the rank 8 extraordinary brocade scale boa was instantly killed by Ao Yao. Only the rank 8 extraordinary leader, the leader of the race of the wind-winged savage fish, was left. However, at this moment, his body also slammed heavily into the wall. Damn it, we are both demon beasts. Why do you have to listen to the orders of humans? The wind-winged savage fish lay on the ground with a furious expression. It stared at Ao Yao and roared loudly. If you don't surrender, die. Ao Yao's expression did not change. A strange black and white energy flickered slightly, and its figure instantly disappeared from the sight of the wind-winged savage fish. Roar, damn it! It opened its huge mouth and attacked in front of it. Wind blades covered the front without any difference. Bang! However, at this moment, a claw landed on the top of its head and heavily hit the green crown. Wind-wing crown! Sensing Ao Yao attacking the crown on its head, it roared loudly. Buzz! The green crown suddenly released a green shadow and flew towards Ao Yao comfortably. No mortal can touch the crown. Die! The green crown shadow instantly bound Ao Yao. The wind-winged savage fish's huge mouth fiercely bit at him. Light and dark void. Ao Yao's expression changed. He wanted to break free, but he found that he could not break free from the crown's binding. His body trembled and directly turned into nothingness, avoiding the crown's binding and the wind-winged savage fish leader's attack. Light and dark explosion. Ao Yao's bright claws and sickle-like claws intersected as he gently waved at Ao Yao. Light-dark explosion. Another divine ability of the dragon spike. Light and dark intersected, unleashing the most terrifying attack. It could be detonated, or it could be detonated in an area. Ao Yaoguang waved both of his arms, and a light-dark thread intersected. Boom! The terrifying explosion landed directly on the body of the leader of the wind-winged savage fish. The crown on its head trembled violently, and green wind elemental energy enveloped its body. Hua hua! The terrifying explosion caused the entire nest to tremble slightly. The body of the wind-winged savage fish smashed heavily towards the back, landing directly on the statue. Roar, 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 invaders! You deserve to die! Ah! The wind-winged savage fish raised its head with great difficulty. Its entire body was bathed in fresh blood as it stared ferociously at Ao Yao. The wind-winged crown on its head was extremely dim. Go to hell! Ao Yao's figure flashed as he instantly appeared in front of the wind-winged savage fish. Great wind-winged savage fish bloodline, give me strength! The wind-winged savage fish leader's body suddenly trembled as the blood flowing out of its body seemed to have evaporated. Ao Yao's black and white pupils constricted. With a wave of her arm, 3 beams of light shot towards the wind-winged savage fish. Voila! At this moment, the green leather covering the statue suddenly glowed brightly. The green light enveloped the wind-winged savage fish. The 3 attacks were easily blocked. The green leather directly covered the wind-winged savage fish leader. Ka ka ka! Ha ha! Ancestors' bloodline, go to hell! The body of the leader of the wind-winged savage fish grew rapidly. In just a short second, it turned into a 10-meter-long wind-winged savage fish. It stared at Ao Yao Yao with a ferocious expression. It's so difficult to deal with. The leader of a demonic beast race actually has such means? Wang Xian revealed a surprised expression. The wind-winged crown, this magical green leather, was more magical than the other, as expected of the leader of a demonic beast race. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at the level 6 supernatural demon. Let's do it! It's the Dragon King. A level 8 supernatural demon with wings of the wind was attacking Wang Xian and his 2 most powerful underlings. This demonic beast race was not simple at all. Wang Xian moved his body and transformed into a divine dragon. The strange demon at the side flashed with light and charged forward. Chapter 1014. Huge Treasure Trove. Spirit Enchantment. Wang Xian waved the lightning strike wood in his hand toward the sky. The entire lightning strike would seem to have come to life. The destructive power of a void interpretation level lightning strike would, after spirit enchantment, could reach the destructive power of an extraordinary level 9. Bind. Wang Xian transformed into a divine dragon. His huge body instantly appeared in the lair of the wind-winged savage fish. He slammed his dragon claws heavily on the ground. Whoosh! 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 The dragon energy transformed into thorns and twined around the wind-winged savage fish. Earth burial. Wang Xian did not stop moving. His body was emitting earthy, yellow energy. The soil that appeared out of thin air was buried towards the wind-winged savage fish. Whoosh! Whoosh! On the left and right sides, the strange demon and Ao demon instantly attacked the wind-winged savage fish. The two attacks landed heavily on the body of the wind-winged savage fish. Crack! Crack! Above his head, the lightning struck the wind-winged savage fish's body. Roar, wind domain! The wind-winged savage fish struggled violently, but he could not resist the attacks of Ao Yao, the strange demon, and the lightning-struck wood. Green light bloomed on his body, and the entire nest was instantly covered in green. Bang! 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 The powerful attacks of Ao Yao Yao and the rest landed on the body of the wind-winged savage fish, causing it to tremble. However, it did not suffer any injuries. Meanwhile, Wang Xian suddenly felt gusts of wind energy tearing at his body from all directions. The powerful force wanted to tear his body apart. Wang Xian's body moved for a while, and his body was covered in soil. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of dragon flames, attacking the wind-winged savage fish directly. Whoosh! However, just as he spat out the dragon flames, a strong gust of wind blew towards him. The wind aided the fire. The flames attacked Wang Xian with an even stronger destructive force. His expression changed slightly. He opened his mouth and swallowed the flames directly. Gold Crack Void! Wang Xian released his supernatural ability directly and attacked the wind-winged savage fish. Buzz! The skin on the wind-winged savage fish fluttered once again. An entire space trembled once again. The golden space-splitting supernatural ability was actually blown away. Numerous wind needles were formed in the void. Fuck! How did the strength of this wind-winged savage fish suddenly increase by so much? Wang Xian had a serious expression on his face. He moved his body and said, "Water crisis exploding city, control the water!" He moved his body and the surrounding seawater froze instantly. The speed of the wind needles was reduced completely. Vital points. Wang Xian stared at the few weaknesses of the wind-winged savage fish and shouted at Ao Yao and the strange demon. Kill! Ao Yao and the strange demon attacked the wind-winged savage fish from both sides. The wood world has descended. Wang Xian stared at the lightning-struck wood floating in the sky and roared. With the lightning-struck wood as the center, trees appeared out of thin air. All the trees pressed down on the wind-winged savage fish. In the middle, a tree that was emitting lightning turned into a wooden spike and pierced downwards. Get lost! The dark crown on the wind-winged savage fish's head enlarged and formed a tornado that swept towards all the trees. Light explosion. Light and darkness. The strange and Ao Yao seized this opportunity and attacked the two places beside him with their sharp claws. Bang! Bang! Two violent explosions sounded from the body of the wind-winged savage fish. Roar! 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 The wind-winged savage fish let out a rapid roar. Its body was actually shrinking rapidly, and its entire body was covered by green leather. Wang Xian waved his dragon claw, and the green layer of skin was torn apart, revealing the severely injured leader of the wind-winged savage fish. There were two huge wounds on both sides of its body, almost causing it to die. I surrender, the great leader of the wind-winged savage fish clan surrenders. Don't kill me, don't kill me. The wind-winged savage fish saw Wang Xian staring at it with a strange gaze. Its body trembled as it spoke to him. Wang Xian stretched out his dragon claws and grabbed its body before throwing it into his mouth. Bang! Bang! A green crown fell from the top of its head. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he transformed into his human form. After swallowing the leader of the wind-winged savage fish, which was at supernatural level 8, he had gained an additional 100,000 dragon crystals. With a move of his arm, the wind-winged crown on the ground appeared in his hand. Wind-winged crown. Half-step void interpretation. A crown of the half-step cave level. No wonder it's so powerful. It can actually withstand the AO Yao's attack and even restrain it. Wang Xian revealed a look of surprise. He wore the crown on his head, but in the end he awkwardly realized that he couldn't wear it since he didn't possess the wind attribute. Helpless, Wang Xian could only put it away. Following that, Wang Xian walked to the side of the green leather on the ground. It was because of this that the size of the leader of the wind-winged savage fish was increased to 10 meters. The attacks it released were also very powerful. Wind-winged king skin. Half-step void interpretation. With the activation of the bloodline of the wind-winged pomfret, it could transform into the king of the wind-winged. Another half-step void interpretation treasure. However, only the bloodline of the wind-winged savage fish is useful. I can refine it into a cape or wings. Wang Xian looked at the 10-meter large leather and kept it with a smile on his face. Looking at the back of the collapsed cave, Wang Xian walked toward it excitedly. Bang! Beside the entrance, a ball of energy blocked his figure. This was not a formation, but a pure wind elemental energy. Wang Xian shook his arm and shattered it. What a huge space! In an instant, Wang Xian's eyes lit up. Spirit stones, wind chime flower, wind chime liquid, azure stone. Wang Xian immediately walked to the front of the pile of spirit stones. His eyes were filled with excitement. There were low-grade, middle-grade, and upper-grade spirit stones. Spirit stones were treasures to any living creature. Even demonic beasts could consume them as food. More than 30 million middle-grade spirit stones. Wang Xian placed all the spirit stones into his interspatial ring. His eyes were filled with excitement. Following that, he came to the side of the azure stone, the wind chime flower, and the wind chime liquid. Piles and piles. The wind chime liquid was placed into a pool. It couldn't be described as a drop at all. It could be described as a pool. Wang Xian dared to say without exaggeration that the value of the wind chime liquid in this pool was more than 700 to 800 million middle-grade spirit stones. I'm rich. I'm really rich this time. I didn't expect a demonic beast race to be so rich. Wang Xian's face was filled with excitement as he placed all the treasures into his interspatial ring. There's more here. Wang Xian walked forward and discovered all kinds of weapons and armor. Among them, there were many transcendent level 7 weapons and armor. There were also many interspatial rings. The hundreds of interspatial rings in Wang Xian's hands were all filled with the corpses of ferocious beasts and demonic beasts. There were not many of them left now, and these interspatial rings were in short supply. As he walked deeper into the pool, there were all sorts of miscellaneous items. They should be treasures obtained from the hunting of humans by the wind-winged savage fish. They were worth quite a lot. What is this? However, when Wang Xian walked to the middle of the pool, he found a small pool. There was a pool of liquid in the pool, and his face was filled with curiosity.